What's unfolding in Maharashtra politics right now is no less than a political thriller. There's climax, anti-climax, and all sorts of twists and turns. Good evening and welcome. I'm Pooja Shali. I'll be taking you through all the latest. First, the headlines. Uddhav Thackeray moves the Election Commission to win Balasaheb legacy. Uddhav Thackeray, to ensure nobody will be able to use Balasaheb's name, warns rebels are sitting on a ticking time bomb. Disqualification notice issued to the rebel MLAs. Rebels asked to respond by 5 p.m. on 27 June. Eknath Shinde also gets a notice. Shinde makes a big claim in fresh letter, says security cover withdrawn for all rebel MLAs, but the Agadi government dismisses the claim. The Shiv Seniks are resorting to all-out hooliganism on the streets, vandalizing rebel MLA's office in Pune. Sanjay Raut justifies the violence, says fire once lit will not be doused.
डर तो रहना ही चाहिए. हमारा गुस्सा अगर हम नहीं निकालेंगे तो कैसा होगा कि हम क्या नामर्द है? हम नामर्द नहीं है. क्या होगा? सत्ता चली जाएगी ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा. और क्या होता है?
After Supreme Court vindicates PM Modi in the Gujarat riots case, Home Minister Amit Shah speaks out, says he saw PM Modi suffer quietly for 20 years, lashes out at opposition for conspiracy.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी की विरोधी राजनीतिक पार्टियां, कुछ आइडियोलॉजी के लिए राजनीति में आए हुए पत्रकार और कुछ एनजीओ ने मिलकर, एक त्रिकूट ने मिलकर ये आरोपों को इतना प्रचारित किया.
After claiming he was dead for years, Pakistan now finally detains mastermind of 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks. Sajid Mir taken into custody after India and America mount pressure. Reports coming in from outside Eknath Shinde's residence in Maharashtra. A massive crowd had gathered at the Thane residence, which is where Eknath Shinde resides. Sloganeering and posters of Eknath Shinde are in Thane. Now, Eknath Shinde's son also is present right now there. We're getting these latest visuals coming in on the screen. We'll try and dip in and try to listen to what the protesters and the crowd of people are saying. Let's go across quickly to my colleague Divyesh Singh. He's right now joining us on this live telecast from outside Eknath Shinde's residence. This is in Thane. Divyesh, over to you now. Who are these protesters? Are they supporters of Eknath Shinde? Are they from the Uddhav group? What are they saying? Do tell us.
Well, Pooja, you can see the crowd behind me. I would ask my camera person to just zoom in. The person speaking on dais in white shirt is Member of Parliament Eknath Shinde, his son of Shiv Sena leader Eknath Shinde, who's leading the rebellion right now, who is leading the rebellion along with 40 Shiv Sena MLAs and 10 independents, meanwhile camping in Guwahati. Eknath Shinde over here is speaking, and the crowd that you see is of Eknath Shinde's supporters. Remember, Eknath Shinde is from Thane. Thane is his bastion. He started his political career as a junior worker of Shiv Sena in Thane, working for Anand Dighe, a strong man of Shiv Sena. Anand Dighe mentored him, after which he became corporator, and then he also was the Thane district president. Other than that, he has been MLA from Panchpakadi, from Thane, in multiple terms. And then when the government came, 2014 government was formed between Shiv Sena and BJP, Eknath Shinde became a minister. He was a minister right now as well. He was given charge of some of the key ministries, and right now what you see over here is a mostly it is around 500 to 1,000 people who've gathered in this particular area where they are raising slogans in support of Eknath Shinde. Everyone has one thing in common. They keep saying that Eknath Shinde is in Shiv Sena. He still is loyal to Shiv Sena. They are all Shiv Senics. Eknath Shinde also reiterated the same thing, stating that Eknath Shinde is in Shiv Sena. He is in Shiv Sena, and each of their supporters are still in Shiv Sena. So they are not talking about any new faction or any new group. They claim that they are in Shiv Sena. Eknath Shinde also went on to mention that Eknath Shinde loyalty is not limited just to Thane. People follow him, people support him across various districts in Maharashtra, across Mumbai, across Thane, across Raigad and various other districts of Maharashtra. And that is why now 40 MLAs from Shiv Sena are supporting him, are camping with him. They were upset with the top brass of Shiv Sena due to some...
And that Eknath Shinde is still in that. Very interesting there. Remember also Shrikant Shinde, who's the son of Eknath Shinde, is also a Lok Sabha member of Parliament. He's now leading the support base for him in Thane, while Eknath Shinde is in Assam. We have some big news coming in. Divyesh, stay on with me. This big breaking news is the scoop here that's going to tell you what's exactly unfolding. Eknath Shinde went late last night to Gujarat. He flew back into Guwahati today morning. So midnight yesterday, Eknath Shinde, remember with the rebel MLAs, has been in Assam, in Guwahati. But now our colleagues on the ground are telling us that Eknath Shinde, the rebel leader, so to say right now, went late last night to Gujarat and then flew back to Guwahati today morning. Follow me, Saha, right outside the hotel where all of this is unfolding, is getting us this big breaking news coming in. Very interesting, follow me. Any latest on what precisely would this visit to Gujarat mean? Because many of these MLAs were also holed up in Surat. But this is interesting. Late last night, when many didn't really realize where is Eknath Shinde, he was in Gujarat.
That's right, Pooja. We are learning this very sensational piece of news that Eknath Shinde flew out of Guwahati late last night. Eknath Shinde flew on a chartered flight from Guwahati to Gujarat last night and flew back into Guwahati early this morning. So clearly he had a meeting over there. He met some people. We do not know. We're trying to ascertain which city of Gujarat he landed in last night, but we do know that he flew chartered between Guwahati and Gujarat last night and back this morning into Guwahati. So this is the sensational piece of news that we're bringing to you right now. Who did he meet over there? What sort of engagement did he have over there? Remember, this would be the second time that Eknath Shinde has left the hotel since he arrived over here from Surat a few days ago. The first time was yesterday when he did step out earlier in the day between 12:31 in the afternoon. He stepped out and he drove out with one escort vehicle, and there was a lot of speculation as to where did he go. He came back after 3 hours and we learned that he was in some personal meetings and possibly seeking some amount of legal advice as well, possibly meeting lawyers as to what exactly should be his future course of action and the faction's future course of action. And late last night, when I believe that the media here had dispersed as well, not anticipating that there could be any movement, Eknath Shinde left in the dead of the night from here, took a chartered flight. Chartered flight is something that I can confirm because of I've been speaking to my aviation sources as well. He took a chartered flight. He flew out of Guwahati to Gujarat and then landed back in Guwahati early this morning.
Most likely not a usual aircraft there, a chartered flight there for Eknath Shinde. Very interesting. And we are now heading across to Deepak Kesarkar, who's now speaking to India Today and our sister channel Aaj Tak, the rebel MLA in Guwahati. Let's listen.
है उस दिन कोर्ट बंद रहता है तो आप कहाँ जाएंगे? हम तो आपको ये करके छोड़ेंगे, तो उनका समाधान होने दीजिए, बाद में जाएंगे कोर्ट।
वैसे भी उन्होंने 27 जून तक की तारीख दी है और 27 जून मंडे है, उसके बाद तो कोर्ट्स खुली जाती है। लेकिन मेरा अगला सवाल आपसे यह है कि आप लोगों की अब क्या स्ट्रैटेजी है? क्या स्पष्टता से आप बताएंगे? क्या आप लोग एक अलग पार्टी बनाना चाहते हैं? क्या शिवसेना बाला साहब के नाम पर पार्टी बनाना चाहते हैं?
नहीं, देखिए, हम लोग तो फिलहाल शिवसेना के ही मेंबर है, हमारे पास 2/3 मेजॉरिटी है, तब हम शिवसेना करके ही हाउस में बैठेंगे, लेकिन अलग बैठेंगे। चाहे हमको उनको अगर ए नहीं चाहिए तो ए हमको दे, वो शिवसेना ए हो जाते तो हम शिवसेना बी है, मतलब शिवसेना बाला साहब है। अगर उनको लगता है कि हम बड़े हैं तो हमको ए दे दे तो हम लोग ए ले लेंगे। ऐसा कुछ सवाल नहीं, फिर भी हम बाला साहब के विचारधारा पे ही चलेंगे।
आपने बाला साहब का नाम बार बार लिया है केसरकर जी, मैं आपको सुनाना चाहती हूँ आज संजय राउत ने कार्यकारिणी की बैठक के बाहर निकलकर क्या कहा था, फिर इस पर जवाब दीजिएगा। सुनिए क्या कहा उन्होंने।
उनके खिलाफ डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन के लिए उनको तो हो जाएगा बताया है, तो मतलब उनको क्या वापस आना पड़ेगा?
आने दो मुंबई में। उद्धव ठाकरे जी ने एक बहुत बड़ा स्टेटमेंट दिया है, अगर जो छोड़कर गए हैं वो लोग शिवसेना का नाम से भीख मत मांगे, और अगर वोट मांगते हैं तो अपने खुद के बाप के नाम पर मांगे। शिवसेना के बाप, हमारे बाप बालासाहेब ठाकरे के नाम पर मत मांगने का आपको अधिकार नहीं। आप अपने बाप के नाम से वोट मांग सकते हैं।
उनके खिलाफ डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन के लिए उनको
तो हो जाएगा
बताया है, तो मतलब उनको क्या वापस आना पड़ेगा?
आने दो मुंबई में। उद्धव ठाकरे जी ने एक बहुत बड़ा स्टेटमेंट दिया है, अगर जो छोड़कर गए हैं वो लोग शिवसेना का नाम से भीख मत मांगे, और अगर वोट मांगते हैं तो अपने खुद के बाप के नाम पर मांगे। शिवसेना के बाप, हमारे बाप बालासाहेब ठाकरे के नाम पर मत मांगने का आपको अधिकार नहीं। आप अपने बाप।
इसका दीपक केसरकर जी वो कह रहे हैं अपने बाप के नाम पर वोट मांगे।
ये तो इलेक्शन बिल्कुल नहीं है। इलेक्शन होगा तो वोट मांगेंगे ना, आज वोट किससे मांगेंगे? ये तो भड़काने वाली चीज है। हम लोग बाला साहब की विचारधारा को मानते हैं, उनका आदर करते हैं, और उनके दिखाए हुए कदमों पे हम लोग चलेंगे और महाराष्ट्र का विकास करेंगे। विकास की बात तो कोई करता ही नहीं है, पॉलिटिक्स की बात करते रहते। ये फाइनेंशियल कैपिटल ऑफ इंडिया है, तो इसका विकास होना चाहिए ना, तो विकास पे बोलिए और विकास कीजिए। आप सत्ता में है, विकास करना आपका काम है और कीजिए, इसीलिए आपको सत्ता में लाया जाता है।
लेकिन आप लोग सीधी चुनौती तो उद्धव ठाकरे को दे ही रहे ना। अगर इतने बागी विधायक चले गए हैं वहां पर आप लोगों के साथ, 2/3 से ज्यादा, जो कि 38 है, तो ये सीधा सीधा उद्धव ठाकरे को ही तो चुनौती है।
देखिए, घर में कुछ नाराज होता है तो टूट के चला जाता है ना, उसको मनाने का भी तरीका होता है। उस तरीके से उसको मनाया जाता। 1 साल उसके लिए था, उस वक्त तो किया जाता, तो ये नहीं होता। अब तो काफी देर हो चुकी, किसी को कोई कॉग्निजेंस नहीं ले रहा था। जब आपको मालूम है कि पहले राज्यसभा का इलेक्शन हो गया, उसमें हमको जो राष्ट्रपति की तरफ से या हमारे जो सहयोगी की तरफ से जो लोगों ने लोग दिए थे मतदान करने के लिए, तो ये राउत साहब ने ही वहां पे बोला था कि वो लोगों ने हमारे लिए मतदान नहीं किया। फिर आपने उन पे क्या एक्शन लिया? वो आपके कारण सत्ता में है ना, तो आपका जो कैंडिडेट है उसका जो पराभव हुआ वो उद्धव साहब को कितना लगा होगा, उनको कितना बुरा लगा होगा, क्योंकि उन्होंने छत्रपति को टिकट नहीं दिया। जो महाराज है, छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज के वंशज है, उनको टिकट नहीं दिया, एक मावड़ा को दिया, मतलब जो लड़ने वाला रहता है राजा के साथ, उनको टिकट दिया। अगर वो हार जाता है तो आपने जो एक स्टैंड लिया था कि हम किसी को भी जीत के ला सकते हैं, इसमें जिसने ये किया, आपको ऑब्स्ट्रक्ट किया, तो उन पे आपने एक्शन नहीं ली, और इसी कारण एमएलसी इलेक्शन में इसका रिएक्शन आ गया कि वो लोग कुछ भी कर सकते हैं, आप उनका कुछ नहीं बिगाड़ सकते। फिर हम क्या करें? और इस फ्रस्ट्रेशन में ये आगे का सब हो रहा है, ऐसे मुझे लगता है। मैं तो उनके साथ ही था, मेरे पीछे गाड़ियां भेज दी तो मैं भी चला आया यहाँ पे। मुझे क्या, मैं ऐसे ही रहता हूँ। अगर मैं किसी भी चीज बोलूं कि मुझे ये करना है तो मैं वही करता हूँ, और इसके लिए किसी से डरता नहीं। क्यों डरना है? क्या करेंगे? ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोग मारते हैं, ये करते हैं, मारना अच्छा है क्या? स्ट्रीट पे उतरना अच्छा है क्या? इसके बजाय 4 अच्छे काम कीजिए। बाला साहब ने क्या बोला था? 90% सोशल वर्क, 10% पॉलिटिक्स। आज तो 90% पॉलिटिक्स चल रहा है। कहाँ है वो एम्बुलेंसेस? कहाँ है वो रक्त देने वाले शिव सैनिक? वो तो अपने अपने घर में है। वो सच्चे शिव सैनिक है। जो किसी के घर में आग लगती है तो पानी लेके जो दौड़ता है वो शिव सैनिक होता है, और वो शिव सैनिक बाला साहब का होता है जो 90% सोशल वर्क करता है और 10% पॉलिटिक्स करता है। तो
अभी तो
हमने
लेकिन ठीक है,
ये देख के तो हम लोग शिवसेना में आए, नहीं तो मुझे शिवसेना में आने की क्या जरूरत थी?
अभी तो लेकिन आपके अपने ही घर के अंदर आग लगी हुई है। मेरा सवाल आपसे ये है कि 2.5 साल बाद जो ये आप लोगों का ज्ञान चक्षु खुला है कि कांग्रेस और एनसीपी के साथ शिवसेना का हिंदुत्व डाइल्यूट हो रहा है, इसको शिवसेना कहती है कि ईडी का प्रताप है।
देखिए,
ईडी वाला लाया हुआ हिंदुत्व है।
आपने जो आग लगाने की बात की, तो मैं जब लास्ट टाइम शिवसेना प्रमुख हमारे आदरणीय उद्धव जी से मिला, तो मैंने उसको एक ही सेंटेंस बोला था, साहब घर में आग लगी है, पहले उस आग को बुझाइए, बाकी सब आगे चल के हो सकता है, उस आग को बुझाइए। मेरे इतने ही मानते, आग को बुझाइए, उनको लाइए, करिए, उनका क्या कहना है वो ये कीजिए। आपका एक ये हो जाता है, आप एक बार बोलते तो आग बुझ सकती है, लेकिन आप उस पर चर्चा करते रहेंगे तो आग बुझेगी नहीं, आग भड़केगी। और आग इतनी भड़क गई कि वो उसका इफेक्ट शिवसेना पे भी हो गया। हमें भी दुख होता है कि हमारे पार्टी है, हमने सोचा था कि हमारा सीएम बनेगा तो हमारी पार्टी बढ़ेगी, तो पार्टी बढ़नी चाहिए, बढ़ नहीं रही है, ये वास्तवता है। इसीलिए सब एमएलए नाराज है, सब एमपीज नाराज है। ये एमएलए का क्वेश्चन था इसलिए आ गया। सब एमपीज भी जब मुझे मिलते हैं बोलते हैं कि बहुत बुरी कंडीशन है, हमें कोई प्रोग्राम में बुलाया नहीं जाता, हमने जो काम कहे हैं वो कहे नहीं जाते, क्योंकि सब इम्पोर्टेंट डिपार्टमेंट या तो वो एनसीपी के साथ है या तो वो कांग्रेस के पास है। हमारे पास क्या है, सिर्फ यूडी और इंडस्ट्रीज, ये दोनों इम्पोर्टेंट डिपार्टमेंट है। बाकी तो हमारे मुख्यमंत्री जो है सब ओवरऑल इंचार्ज है महाराष्ट्र।
अच्छा ये बताइए कि अब गुवाहाटी टू मुंबई टिकट कब कटाइएगा?
जब भी महाराष्ट्र में शांति होगी हम जरूर आएंगे। अगर स्पीकर हमको बोलेंगे कि आपके गुट को मैं मान्यता दे रहा हूँ, आप आपके 39 मेंबर्स दिखाइए, हम सबको लेके उनके साथ परेड करेंगे 39 मेंबर्स की। और जिसके पास 39 मेंबर्स है उनको डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन करने की क्या बात है? वो डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन वहां पे अप्लाई ही नहीं होता। आपके पास एप्लीकेशन दिया हुआ है, आप बोल रहे किसी आदमी ने ईमेल पे आ गया इसलिए हम लोग इसको नहीं ले रहे, तो आप उनको बोलिए ना, आप पर्सनली आके दीजिए, तो पर्सनली आके देंगे, लेकिन उसका रिकॉर्ड तो होना चाहिए कि हमको ये मिल गया, उतना तो कीजिए। नहीं तो ऐसा करेंगे कि आप मिला भी नहीं ऐसे बोलेंगे तो कैसे चलेगा?
नहीं, डेप्यूटी स्पीकर ने कहा पिछली बार जो चिट्ठी मिली थी हस्ताक्षर देखकर उन्होंने कहा नितिन देशमुख के हस्ताक्षर नकली है, ये उन्होंने खुद कहा है, इसीलिए वो बाकियों पर यकीन नहीं कर रहे हैं। देखिए महाराष्ट्र का फैसला महाराष्ट्र में होगा ना सर, थोड़ा ना गुवाहाटी या सूरत में होगा।
नितिन देशमुख ने जब साइन किया तो उनका फोटोग्राफ है, उनका वीडियो है, तो क्या कर रहे थे? उनको उनपे कोई जबरदस्ती कर रहा था क्या? वो अपने मर्जी से कर रहे थे साइन
कि उनको इंजेक्शंस लगाया जा रहा था, वो जान बचा के भाग गए।
उनको डिलीट कर दीजिए, उनको डिलीट कर दीजिए, दूसरा ले लीजिए।
क्या आप लोगों ने, ठीक है, जो तस्वीरें हम दिखा रहे हैं दीपक जी, वहां पर काफी तोड़फोड़
है, तो आप बोलिए कि ये नहीं है और आप और एक लाइए, हम लोग लाएंगे, हमारे पास तो 50 है।
ये बागी विधायकों के दफ्तरों पे तोड़फोड़ की तस्वीरें आ रही हैं, क्या आप लोगों ने सुरक्षा की भी मांग की है, परिवारों के लिए कुछ किया है ऐसा?
बिल्कुल ये करना ही पड़ेगा मैडम, ये कायदे का राज है, यहाँ पे कायदे का अमल चलता है, ऐसे ये करना ही ये जो राज्य का मुख्यमंत्री होता है उनका कर्तव्य रहता है। और आज हमारे आदरणीय मुख्यमंत्री जी वहाँ पे बैठे हुए हैं, उन्होंने शपथ ली है कि सब लोगों की वो रक्षा करेंगे, चाहे वो किसी के बारे में ममत्व या किसी के बारे में वैर न रखते हुए सबको समान न्याय देंगे, ऐसी उनकी शपथ है। तो चाहे वो किसी भी आदमी का, चाहे वो शिवसेना का एमएलए हो या बीजेपी का एमएलए हो या कि ऑर्डिनरी आदमी हो, किसी का भी घर कोई जला रहा है तो उस पर एक्शन लेना एज ए हेड ऑफ द स्टेट उनका कर्तव्य है। वो ऐसा नहीं करे इसलिए अपील करना उनका कर्तव्य है, और वो बहुत ही कर्तव्यदक्ष मुख्यमंत्री है, तो ये करेंगे। क्योंकि एक रोल अलग है जो पक्ष प्रमुख का रोल है और एक रोल अलग है जो मुख्यमंत्री का है, और वो मुख्यमंत्री का रोल निभाना।
अब आप लोग मुख्यमंत्री रहने कहाँ दे रहे हैं उन्हें? मुख्यमंत्री रहने कहाँ दे रहे हैं? जो बगावत हो गई है, लेकिन
जब तक वो मुख्यमंत्री है उनको अपना कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल ड्यूटी तो निभाना पड़ेगा।
ठीक है, आखिरी सवाल, देवेंद्र फडणवीस को मुख्यमंत्री बनाएंगे, उप मुख्यमंत्री बनेंगे एकनाथ शिंदे, गृह मंत्रालय, क्या क्या स्ट्रैटेजी कुछ तो बनाई होगी?
मैं कैसे बोल सकता हूँ मैडम, उन्होंने तो शिंदे साहब ने बोला
इतना टाइम आप लोग बैठे गुवाहाटी में 5 स्टार होटल में सर, कभी तो बात होती होगी ना, चर्चा तो करते ही होंगे क्या क्या मांगना है।
चर्चा करते हैं, हमने पूरा अधिकार शिंदे साहब को दिया है, वो जो भी निर्णय देंगे वो हम लोग उस पर अमल करेंगे, और हमारी गवर्नमेंट आएगी महाराष्ट्र में और वो शिवसेना की गवर्नमेंट होगी, इतना ही मैं बोल सकता हूँ।
बीजेपी के साथ
इसके मैडम 2 ही ऑप्शन है, आइदर को कांग्रेस राष्ट्रवादी या तो बीजेपी।
तो बीजेपी के साथ आप सरकार बनाएंगे?
मैंने ऐसा कभी बोला है, वो तो शिंदे साहब डिसाइड करेंगे किसके साथ बनाना है।
आप कह रहे हैं आपकी सरकार आएगी, आप कब आएंगे ये बताने की स्थिति में है आप? 2 दिन, 3 दिन, 4 दिन?
अच्छी स्थिति हो जाए मैडम, हम आ जाएंगे। और देखिए हमारा एप्लीकेशन भी बोल रहे हैं कि एप्लीकेशन भी नकली है, तो हमने सब वीडियोस निकाले हैं, वो भी नकली बोल रहे हैं। तो उनका ये है कि वहां आए, फिर 100-200 लोग हमारे गाड़ी को एनसर्कल करे, जोर जोर से घोषणा दे, फिर हमको दबाव में डाले। फिर अगर देखिए ऐसा होता है तो कौन आना चाहेगा? हम तो कोर्ट से प्रोटेक्शन ले लेंगे, हम तो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट से प्रोटेक्शन ले लेंगे। अगर आप नहीं दे रहे हैं तो कोई ना कोई तो होगा जो प्रोटेक्शन देगा, क्योंकि लॉ एंड ऑर्डर ये हर एक का हक है, हमें भी वो मिलना चाहिए जी। एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट है हमारा 2/3 का मेजॉरिटी प्रूव करने का, हमें मिलना चाहिए।
ठीक है,
क्यों पेंडिंग रखा है उसको?
जी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका। गुवाहाटी
Right, so that's Deepak Kesarkar speaking to Anjana Kashyap and stating that they are definitely very confident that they are the ones, which means the Shinde group will eventually somehow manage to make the government, and they're still part of the Shiv Sena. But what you see on your screens are two different visuals. One, Uddhav Thackeray acknowledging the support of the Shiv Senics, of their people who are still backing Uddhav Thackeray. Aditya Thackeray acknowledging, taking selfies, taking visuals, smiling, confident, fist thumping, victory sign. On the other, you see the group of rebel MLAs now sitting in Guwahati in Assam. Constantly, Eknath Shinde's group sending out these videos to remind Uddhav Thackeray and his group and Sanjay Raut they have the numbers and count as much as you want, but the 2/3 majority is now visibly with them, is their claim. So what's stopping then the Shinde camp to go ahead and start to have the party on their side and possibly take the stake to claim to the government in the next few weeks as well? So what's happening right now? As you see, it is a split of the Shiv Sena. And therefore, when it is a split of a party that was founded by Balasaheb Thackeray, what happens to Bal Thackeray's legacy? With Uddhav Sena, Shinde Sena, what happened to the Bal Thackeray's Shiv Sena? Hours after Shinde Sena confirmed that their party's name, or the group that will be part of Shiv Sena, but will be a splinter group, it will be called the Shiv Sena Balasaheb. Uddhav Thackeray is warning the rebels do not use the name of Bal Thackeray, and will also be ensuring that he's moving the election commission to ensure that Bal Thackeray's name cannot be included in a splinter group or otherwise. And even stating in a scathing attack, Uddhav Thackeray said, I quote him here, "Himmat hai to khud ke baap ka naam par vote mange. Take your own father's name if you want to. Do not use Bala Saheb's name." Remember, strong words now coming out from Uddhav Thackeray's mouth, and in contrast to the emotional messages. He's also saying these rebel MLAs are sitting on a ticking time bomb. Take a look now of how all of this is unfolding, reactions that are coming in, because Uddhav faction has moved the election commission, and in that letter Uddhav Sena and the group says they strongly object to any party being created in the name of using the names either of Shiv Sena or Balasaheb Thackeray.
तुम्ही जर थांबला हे काय करतायत? मला म्हणे मी मध्ये पडणार नाही. त्यांचा निर्णय त्याला घरी मी नाही मध्ये पडणार. तुम्ही जर थांबला हे काय करतायत? मला म्हणे मी मध्ये पडणार नाही. त्यांचा निर्णय त्याला घरी मी नाही मध्ये पडणार.
ये सत्य और असत्य की लड़ाई है, जो भाग के गए हैं उनके खिलाफ है। आपल्याला कार्यकारिणीची बैठकीची मुद्दा सगळे माहिती आहेत, सगळे बाहेर आलेले आहेत। महत्त्वाची गोष्ट म्हणजे गद्दारी खपून गेली जाणार नाही, शिवसेना विजयी होणार म्हणजे होणारच।
बालासाहेब ठाकरे का नाम अगर कोई अपने राजनीतिक स्वार्थ के लिए यूज करता है वो हमें मंजूर नहीं, उसका ऊपर लीगल एक्शन लिया जाए। मैंने तो मुंबई में उद्धव ठाकरे जी ने एक बहुत बड़ा स्टेटमेंट दिया है, अगर जो छोड़कर गए हैं वो लोग शिवसेना का नाम से भीख मत मांगे, और अगर वोट मांगते हैं तो अपने खुद के बाप के नाम पर मांगे। शिवसेना के बाप, हमारे बाप बालासाहेब ठाकरे के नाम पर मत मांगने का आपको अधिकार नहीं, आप अपने बाप के नाम से वोट मांग सकते।
We are joined by Priyanka Chaturvedi, and we'll try and understand what is the action that has been proceeded in this entire meeting. We are told that action was done against the rebel.
We have taken unanimous decision that Shiv Sena will work under the leadership of Shri Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray, and whatever he deems fit in terms of action, in terms of reaction, in terms of legalities, in terms of technicalities, in terms of politically, we all stand firmly behind him.
This comes at a time when the Deputy Speaker has summoned Eknath Shinde that he cannot take a call. He should come here and speak to the Deputy Speaker. And on the other hand, continuously Shiv Sena leaders are issuing warnings to the rebel camp. Is it right that the way the law and order situation is deteriorating?
How is law and order situation getting messed up in the city? Are you feeling unsafe in the city? Am I not roaming easily in the city? Who are those who are feeling unsafe? There are those who have, I'll tell you, those who have gone against the mandate of the people, gone against the symbol that they have voted into power, are the ones people are angry towards. So be rest assured, Mumbai's law and order is absolutely in control. We have a good police commissioner who's handling it.
Eknath Shinde is saying that we are the real Shiv Sena. Balasaheb Thackeray's Sena is the Shinde Sena.
It's such a joke. It's such a joke. Can you even imagine a Shiv Sena which belongs to Balasaheb Thackeray going to someone like Eknath Shinde, where I think Chief Minister has categorically said it. If you want to start another party, start it under your own father's name. Why should you use my father's name for it?
So there you are, Priyanka Chaturvedi, specifying that the Shiv Sena is not only clearly a Balasaheb Thackeray's Shiv Sena, but it is a Shiv Sena that is identified with Uddhav Thackeray. With video journalist Sanjay, this is Mosmi Singh in Mumbai for India Today.
जो हम लोग ने पिटीशन फाइल की थी, उसी के ऊपर सोमवार को 5:30 बजे स्पीकर महोदय के सामने सारे 16 बागी जो विधायक है शिवसेना के, उनको आना पड़ेगा और उनकी बाजू उनको यहाँ इन पर्सन आके बोलनी पड़ेगी.
So how has the Shiv Sena become slightly more aggressive? They have given out a resolution letter. What does the resolution say? 6 quick pointers here. Shiv Sena will always belong to Balasaheb Thackeray. This after Shinde Sena appeared to becoming a splinter group of the Shiv Sena and have Balasaheb's name in it. Number 2, this is very important because at this point they are also looking at the strategies of the Uddhav Thackeray Sena. They are primarily looking at if the Balasaheb Thackeray name is misused. Remember, Shiv Sena has always reflected a Marathi pride. And that being said, the Shiv Sena says there will be no compromise on the Marathi pride. That remains, remember, since the beginning has been about that specifically. Now let's take a look at the third resolution that the Shiv Sena has given out in their resolution letter today. They're also looking at how precisely the next letter to the Election Commission will be to object the use of Balasaheb's name. That is, if Eknath Shinde decides to go ahead with it. And there will be action against the rebel group, either for using the name of Bal Thackeray or just if they can be disqualified also for missing the meetings. Will not let the rebels use Balasaheb's name at all. So that is today's focus, and concerned and worried if the rebel group starts to use the name of the founder, the patriarch, the father of Uddhav Thackeray. Will contest election under Uddhav. So the few MLAs who are still backing the Shiv Sena as it stands with Uddhav Thackeray have said, we will continue to contest elections under Uddhav Thackeray. Only this is the national executive, remember. So not just the MLAs, but primarily the members of the Shiv Sena across the state of Maharashtra today attended the meeting and expressed their support to Uddhav Thackeray. Leaving you with these visuals of how Aditya Thackeray coming and meeting the supporters, clicking selfies, a fist bump there, a victory sign, a smiling acknowledgement to the supporters and Shiv Senics, and interacting with the media persons. Leaving you with these visuals of Uddhav Thackeray and Aditya Thackeray and the MLAs in Guwahati, the rebel ones. I'll be right back after a very short break. Don't go anywhere. Thank you.
वोट मांगते हैं तो अपने खुद के बाप के नाम पर मांगे.
You are watching India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com or call 9999892171. India's #1 political reporter.
Defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye, unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% news that matters. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Only on India Today TV.
इसके कारण ये हुआ है कि दिल्ली एयरपोर्ट अभी वर्ल्ड के लीडिंग एयरपोर्ट्स में है, जहां की हमारा हाईएस्ट रेटिंग है एयरपोर्ट काउंसिल इंटरनेशनल द्वारा। साउथ ईस्ट एशिया में एक भी एयरपोर्ट नहीं है जो कि लेवल 4+ एक्रेडिटेशन जिसको मिला है। लेवल 4+ एक्रेडिटेशन ये चीज़ डिनोट करता है कि अलग अलग स्कोप का जो एमिशन होता है वो हर एक स्कोप पे हमने रिडक्शन किया है।
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You are watching India Today.
The rebel Sena group making their agenda very clear, and this is the biggest political news scoop coming in. Eknath Shinde's camp is likely to form a rebel group and possibly a rebel party. Shinde's group has sought recognition as a separate party. In an exclusive conversation with India Today, rebel MLA Deepak K. Sarkar said Eknath Shinde has sent a letter to the Deputy Speaker and they want now to be recognized as, and I quote that here, a Shiv Sena of the Balasaheb Thackeray. While having a conversation with India Today, this rebel group dropped this massive hint of supporting possibly the Bharatiya Janata Party to eventually form a government in the state of Maharashtra, and that will be with the Shiv Sena of the Balasaheb group.
लेकिन जो 2003 में अमेंडमेंट हुआ है इस कानून में, उसके तहत एक ही पार्टी के 2 गुट असेंबली में नहीं बैठ सकते। इसीलिए बार बार ये कहा जा रहा है कि आपका ये शिवसेना बालासाहेब नाम का जो कोई गुट बनेगा, जिसको मान्यता शायद मिल भी जाए, वो गुट अपने आप को उनको मर्ज करना पड़ेगा किसी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी में। तो या तो नहीं है, हो सकती है या आपकी कोई और, ये नहीं है। अच्छा,
ऐसे बिल्कुल नहीं है, ऐसा कुछ प्राविधान नहीं है। वो तो अलग गट करके आप बैठ सकते हैं और वैसे हम लोग बैठेंगे। आज जो सिर्फ चल रहा है प्रेशर टैक्टिक्स चल रहा है महाराष्ट्र में, और ऐसे कोई भी नहीं है। जो भी प्रोविजंस होंगे कायदे की, उसके हम लोग अमल बजावनी करेंगे।
आप बीजेपी को समर्थन देंगे? आपका गुट बीजेपी को सरकार बनाने के लिए समर्थन देगा?
हमारी मांग ये थी कि आप इनके साथ मत रहिए। अब महाराष्ट्र में 2 ही ऑप्शन बचते हैं, या तो आप कांग्रेस और राष्ट्रवादी के साथ जाओ, या तो आप बीजेपी के साथ जाओ, नहीं तो सरकार नहीं बन सकती। फिर से इलेक्शन लेनी पड़ेगी, ये बात है।
तो मतलब आप बीजेपी को समर्थन देंगे और सरकार यहां पर बनाएंगे महाराष्ट्र में, यही आपका गोल रहेगा इस पूरे मामले में?
बीजेपी को समर्थन देना न देना ये शिंदे साहब का डिसीजन रहेगा। शिंदे साहब जो भी डिसीजन लेंगे वो हम सब पे बाइंडिंग है। हमने ऐसे इनानिमसली बोला है कि शिंदे साहब जो भी डिसीजन लेंगे हम लोग उनके साथ रहेंगे।
लेकिन अब आप ये कह रहे हैं कि आप अलग गुट बनाने की कोशिश करेंगे, क्योंकि आपका जो पहला वाला दावा था वो उपाध्यक्ष ने ठुकरा दिया है। तो इसीलिए क्या अब आप अलग गुट बनाकर शिवसेना बालासाहेब इस नाम से काम करेंगे महाराष्ट्र की असेंबली में, ये बात आप कहना चाहते हैं?
देखिए, पहला जो एप्लीकेशन था वो डिफरेंट था, वो गट नेता के बारे में था। और गट नेता जब चुना जाता है तो जो असेंबली में चुने हुए लोग हैं, जो पार्टी सिंबल पे जीत के आए हैं, समझिए अगर शिवसेना है तो 56 लोग ऐसे हैं एमएलए जो जीत के आए थे शिवसेना के सिंबल पे। तो उन्होंने अपनी ये दी है डिक्लेरेशन कि हम लोग शिवसेना के नाम से हमारा पक्ष रहेगा और एकनाथ शिंदे साहब हमारे गट नेता रहेंगे। अगर 56 लोग लिख के देते हैं, अगर उसमें से एक एक्सपायर हो जाते हैं तो हमारी संख्या बचती है 55। अगर 55 में से आपको चेंज करना होगा तो एटलीस्ट 28 सिग्नेचर्स यू मस्ट हैव। दिस इज अ सिंपल लॉजिक। और उसको आप टुकड़ा देते हैं तो उसके बारे में भी कोर्ट में जाना चाहिए। तो हर बार कोर्ट में जाना, इट्स जिसे आप बोलते हैं कि ये जो अपनी लोकशाही है उसकी विटंबना है। ये ऐसे नहीं होना चाहिए, उनको ऐसा निर्णय नहीं लेना चाहिए, लेकिन इसको भी हम लोग कोर्ट में चैलेंज करेंगे।
आजकल हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि ताराजी सावंत जो आपके साथ वहां पर है, उनके घर पे तोड़फोड़ की गई है। मंगेश कुडालकर, उनका दफ्तर तोड़ा गया है। कई जगह पर शिवसैनिक आपके विधायकों के घरों पर जाकर हमला करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, उनकी तोड़फोड़ कर रहे हैं। संजय राउत धमकी दे रहे हैं। आपको आज नेशनल एग्जीक्यूटिव की मीटिंग भी है शिवसेना की, उसमें यह तय होगा कि आगे की कार्रवाई किस तरीके से हो सकती है। आपकी क्या प्रतिक्रिया इन सारी चीजों पर?
देखिए, जो भी मुख्यमंत्री रहते हैं वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल हेड रहते हैं स्टेट के, तो उनकी जवाबदारी रहती है, उनको शपथ दी जाती है कि आप किसी के आदमी के बारे में ममत्व या देश की भावना मन में नहीं रखते हुए काम करेंगे और सब जनता को न्याय देंगे। तो अगर अपनी शपथ नहीं निभा रहे हैं तो वो गलत चीज है। उनको ये सोचना चाहिए कि वो सब अभी पक्ष प्रमुख है, लेकिन वो अभी उस रोल में नहीं है जब तक वो महाराष्ट्र के मुख्यमंत्री है। तो महाराष्ट्र के मुख्यमंत्री होने के कारण उनको जो भी एक्शन लेना है वो एक्शन लेना चाहिए। अगर जरूरी हो और राउत साहब पे एक्शन लेना पड़े तो वो भी लेना है, क्योंकि ऐसे भड़काऊ वक्तव्य वो कर रहे हैं। और अपने जो पार्टी वर्कर्स है उनको उन्होंने क्लियर आदेश देना चाहिए कि आप शांत रहिए, महाराष्ट्र शांत रहना चाहिए, कोई भी लॉ एंड ऑर्डर का प्रॉब्लम महाराष्ट्र में नहीं आना चाहिए।
So will the real Shiv Sena please stand up now? Because Eknath Shinde is moving in for the kill. They are pushing for a new splinter group that will be called Shiv Sena Balasaheb. Uddhav Thackeray is digging in his heels. He's hitting out at Shinde camp saying Shiv Sena and Thackerays are synonymous and action will be taken because there's only one Shiv Sena and that right now is under the leadership of Uddhav Thackeray. Take a look at this story.
Which is the real Shiv Sena? Who will inherit Balasaheb Thackeray's legacy? And who will rule Maharashtra? This raging political Mahabharat has now entered a legal battleground. Both Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray and rebel Eknath Shinde are staking claim as the rightful heir of Shiv Sena.
शिवसेना कदापि हिंदुत्वापासून आणि हिंदुत्व कदापि शिवसेनेपासून दूर होऊ शकत नाही, कारण शिवसेना प्रमुखांनी जो एक कानमंत्र दिलेला है कि हिंदुत्व हा आमचा श्वास है।
अभी तो हम लोग तो कल भी हम बालासाहेब ठाकरे जी के सैनिक थे, आज भी है, कल भी रहेंगे।
लेकिन क्या फिर अभी
बालासाहेब ठाकरे जी की जो आइडियोलॉजी है, उनकी भूमिका है, उसे ही हम लोग आगे लेके जाना चाहते हैं।
One thing is clear, a split in Shiv Sena is now inevitable. Shinde and 37 MLAs have broken rank from the Uddhav Sena. They are now the majority, leaving the original Shiv Sena to be reduced to a minority party. And now, Shinde Sena is moving in for the kill by laying claim to the bow and arrow symbol of the original Shiv Sena.
जब एमएलए लोगों के जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में अगर कोई काम नहीं होता है या उनके ऊपर अन्याय होता है, तो अन्याय के खिलाफ लड़ने की सीख जो है हमारे को बालासाहेब ठाकरे जी ने दी है।
The Shinde camp is reportedly forming a new rebel party called Shiv Sena Balasaheb. Another resounding message that they are carrying forward Balasaheb's Hindutva ideology.
हम आज भी विचारधारा से जुड़े हुए हैं, इसलिए हमने ये नाम रखा है कि शिवसेना बालासाहेब, क्योंकि शिवसेना वहां पे वो पार्टी का नाम है, शिवसेना बालासाहेब गट करके नाम रखा है और उस गट को रिकॉग्निशन देना चाहिए।
Uddhav Thackeray too is digging in his heels, hitting out at Shinde camp, saying Shiv Sena and Thackerays are synonyms.
ठाकरे आणि शिवसेना ही दोन नावं, दोन शब्द वेगळे करून तुम्ही शिवसेना चालून दाखवाच, माझं आज सुद्धा आव्हान आहे। कारण बाळासाहेबांचाही फोटो वापरायचा नाही, मी तर नालायकच आहे, माझा फोटो लावूच नका, पण बाळासाहेबांचाही फोटो न लावता तुम्ही शिवसेना नावाने जगून दाखवा।
But who decides which is the real Shiv Sena? The matter can be only decided by the Election Commission. Election Commission will also decide on allotment of party symbol on set rules if Eknath Shinde seeks official recognition. Till then, the war of words, war for legacy and the war for power will only get bigger. Bureau Report, India Today.
So meanwhile, what are other political parties up to in this Maha-political crisis? Union Minister Ramdas Athavale met former Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis in Mumbai. Ramdas Athavale slammed Uddhav Thackeray government for vandalism and threats of a street fight against the rebel MLAs. He's urging Uddhav Thackeray's government to tighten the noose around Shiv Seniks who are resorting to violence. He's also asked Uddhav Thackeray to resign from the position of Chief Minister, assuring full support to the rebel faction. But he appreciated the efforts of Eknath Shinde and 38 rebel MLAs, saying 2/3 of the legislators are supporting clearly for a reason to Eknath Shinde. Further adding, rebel faction should now get recognitions. So speculation is rife. If possibly this is a clear indication of BJP's support to Eknath Shinde faction to eventually stake claim for the Maha throne in Maharashtra.
मुख्यमंत्री ने इस्तीफा देना चाहिए, लेकिन अभी मुख्यमंत्री बोल रहे हैं हाउस में मेजोरिटी दिखाएगी। अभी इतनी माइनॉरिटी में गए हैं और मेजोरिटी कहाँ से दिखाएंगे? तो हाउस में दिखाना है तो हाउस में दिखा सकते हैं, लेकिन फिलहाल माननीय देवेंद्र फडणवीस जी ने बताया कि हमें कोई जल्दबाजी बिल्कुल नहीं है, हम वेट एंड वॉच पर हम लोग हैं। 2/3 मेजोरिटी से एकनाथ शिंदे के साथ एमएलए चले गए हैं, तो उनको मतलब शिवसेना की मान्यता मिलनी चाहिए और इसी तरह की दादागिरी करना अच्छी बात नहीं है। जो तोड़फाड़ हो रही है इसको रोकने की आवश्यकता है, लेकिन पुलिस के सामने इसी तरह की तोड़फाड़ हो रही है, ये बात बिल्कुल नाजायज है और बहुत ही गंभीर बात है।
Teesta Setalwar has been taken to the Santa Cruz police station by the Gujarat anti-terror squad officials. It is believed that she might also then be taken to Ahmedabad from there. Activist Teesta Setalwar taken to the Santa Cruz police station by the Gujarat ATS and then possibly thereon could be taken from Ahmedabad. She's currently based in Maharashtra in Mumbai. And we'll try and get more details about what exactly is the reason behind the ATS team there and have now taken her to the Santa Cruz police station. Let's go across now to my colleague Dev Kotak for the latest on that. Dev, what precisely is the reason that the Gujarat ATS officials were there, have taken her to the Santa Cruz police station? And I believe we have the latest visuals there on our screens right now, and then to Ahmedabad.
Well, yes, just to put things into perspective and make them extremely clear, right now I'm currently outside the Santa Cruz police station. There you see a large group of people who are believed to be supporters and also the staff members of Teesta Setalwar's NGO, CJP, Citizens for Justice and Peace. The gentleman, bald with glasses, is Teesta Setalwar's lawyer. He, to our channel and several other channels, also disclosed the fact that she was taken earlier this afternoon after 4 p.m. They did not give her a prior intimation, but the Gujarat ATS team just barged into her house, the bungalow called Nirant on Juhu Tara Road, where she also lives, and her office premises are also located in the same very place. Also, they barged in, giving her no prior notice. FIR was filed, however, an FIR copy was shared only with her lawyer after Teesta Setalwar was taken away, calling this an illegal arrest, also calling it extremely unfair. Of course, as we know, this comes hours after the Union Home Minister Amit Shah gave an interview to a channel where, he had also disclosed the fact that Teesta Setalwar had been lying throughout as far as statements pertaining to 2002 riots have been concerned. It is the same very case in which the Special Investigations team from Gujarat granted PM Modi a clean chit, and Teesta Setalwar is accused of siphoning of funds. In the FIR sections of the Indian Penal Code, 468 and 471 have been added. One of them is also forgery. Believed that she lied to people, and also the Supreme Court observed that Teesta Setalwar had done this for her own personal gains and in order to make money. However, this is yet to be established, and these claims that have been made by the apex court need to be verified. Teesta Setalwar, on her way out, she was taken only a few minutes ago, about 5 to 7 minutes ago. She is being taken to Ahmedabad.
Dave, do keep tracking the latest on that. So currently in Mumbai, Santa Cruz police station and likely to be taken to Gujarat, and this in connection to some of the allegations of corruption there and if there was misinformation that was spread by her. But my colleague Dave will be tracking all the latest on that. Dave, thank you so much for now. I'm heading into a very short break. Don't go anywhere through the evening. I'll be telling you all the latest that's coming in from Maharashtra and a potboiler thriller that's unfolding there. From Maharashtra to Assam. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching.
You are watching India Today.
Can you imagine your life without Swiggy, Dunzo, Zomato, Zepto? Well, let's just nod in agreement that life would not be the same without these apps. But can we look at them with a finer lens? After the pandemic, reliance on these apps increased, and so did the demand and supply for gig work across India, according to Taskmore Gig Index. Gig work consists of income-earning activities outside of traditional long-term employer-employee relationships. So essentially, these gig workers are those who are delivering the items you order through these apps. But there are problems this workforce is facing. Problems around social security rights and working rights. These problems are also the primary cause of distress among the emerging form of employees. So let's explain what a gig economy is. Gig economy is a free market where organizations like Ola, Uber, Zomato and Swiggy hire or contract workers for a short span of time. Basically, these are temporary positions to meet the company's immediate requirements. Gig workers are those who are part of this economy. They work independently on call or on a temporary basis. India is the 5th largest gig economy according to an India Staffing Federation report. In India, over 15 million workers are employed as gig workers across the industries. And digital platforms played an important role in helping job seekers find these gig work. Gig workers suffer from the lack of social security, sanitary working conditions, and working rights. So this sector is highly unregulated, which, like any unregulated sector, results in nominal benefits and reduced security. You can call this a shinier extension of India's unorganized labor economy. According to India's Code on Wages 2019, a universal minimum wage and floor wage should be provided to all organized and unorganized sectors. That includes gig workers. Likewise, the Code on Social Security 2020 recognizes gig workers as a new category. That also makes them eligible for benefits like maternity benefits, life and disability cover, old age protection, provident fund, and employment injury benefits. However, the eligibility does not guarantee that they will get these benefits.
I bought a toothpaste and a Marmite and I saw it finish. And then I went to the shop to buy again and I was like, I haven't seen a toothpaste finish for the last 15 years. So I've not gone away. Because of COVID, I just moved. And I loved those 2 years away. You know, when I first went there, I bought a toothpaste and a Marmite and I saw it finish. And then I went to the shop to buy again and I was like, I haven't seen a toothpaste finish for the last 15 years. Because I've been traveling so much. I have some 4 or 6 sets of things, right? One in London to travel, one always with an airport bag, one. I've never seen a thing finish. I loved it. So I think I want to see it again for a bit. Like I want to have a bit of stability.
Little joys of life.
Yeah, man. So just reading, watching, eating in the sense, not food, eat in order to give, like being able to give, you know what I mean? So I'm enjoying that and I'm slowly coming back.
This year you have 4 releases.
Yeah. But slowly, let's see. The thing is, the truth is, last 2 years, most of the things have been on OTT only, yeah. Like whether they're films or series, you know what I mean? So, I don't know.
But do you think it's better than what's been written in cinema? Roles written especially for women?
That's what I'm saying, I don't know, because Jalsa was great, it's a film. Then Gangubai, the part was great. Then, you know, Deepika's just done Gehrahiya, which was written for a woman. Then, I mean, there are many films which were also quite strong parts. Forensic was also a strong woman character. So I think it's more or less the same.
Which I'm aware of on Twitter, though I don't actively participate in. I'm aware of the fact that there is a debate online about, you know, why should we, you know, remake films that have already been made. Maybe it's just a phase right now, but it's also very cyclical. And creatively speaking, as she said, in our film, especially strictly speaking about our film, it's a very different perspective.
India's #1 political reporter.
Defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye, unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% pure prime time. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Only on India Today TV.
Presented by Aditya Birla Group, Big in Your Life. Co-presented by Star Health Insurance, the health insurance specialist. Co-presented by JK Pancharghat Tire. अब हवा नहीं निकलेगी. Powered by NECC. Sunday हो या Monday, रोज खाओ अंडे.
You are watching India Today.
मांगते हैं तो अपने खुद के बाप के नाम पर मांगे.
Good evening and welcome. Never-ending twists and turns coming in from Maharashtra. I'm Pooja Shali. Let's begin first with the headlines. Uddhav Thackeray moves the Election Commission to win Balasaheb's legacy. Uddhav Thackeray to ensure nobody uses Bal Thackeray's name. Warns the rebels are sitting on a ticking time bomb. Disqualification notice has been issued to the rebel MLAs. Rebels asked to respond by 5 p.m. on 27 June. Eknath Shinde also receives the notice. But Shinde makes a big claim, says security cover has been withdrawn for all the rebel MLAs, but the Aghadi government has dismissed this claim for now. Shiv Seniks resorting to all-out hooliganism on the streets, vandalizing rebel MLAs' offices in Pune. Sanjay Raut justifies the violence, says fire once lit cannot be doused.
डर की, डर तो रहना ही चाहिए. हमारा गुस्सा अगर हम नहीं निकालेंगे तो कैसा होगा कि हम क्या नामर्द है? हम नामर्द नहीं है. क्या होगा? सत्ता चली जाएगी ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा. और क्या होता है?
After Supreme Court vindicates Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the Gujarat riots case, Home Minister Amit Shah speaks out, says he saw Prime Minister Modi suffer quietly for 20 years, lashes out at opposition for conspiracy.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी की विरोधी राजनीतिक पार्टियां, कुछ आइडियोलॉजी के लिए राजनीति में आए हुए पत्रकार और कुछ एनजीओ ने मिलकर, एक त्रिकूट ने मिलकर ये आरोपों को इतना प्रचारित किया
Gujarat anti-terror squad takes activist Teesta Setalwar to Santa Cruz police station in Mumbai for allegations on corruption in the Gujarat riots case. Teesta may also be taken to Gujarat later. There is a So will the real Shiv Sena now stand up? Because it's all about Bal Thackre's legacy about and between Uddhav Sena versus the Shinde Sena in Maharashtra. Hours after, the Shinde group confirmed that their new splinter group or party will be called Shiv Sena Balasaheb. So Uddhav Thackeray has now warned the rebel MLAs. In this warning, Uddhav Thackeray wrote and said, nobody can use Balasaheb's name. A scathing attack on rebel Shinde. Also, he said, and I quote him here, "Himmat hai to khud ke baap ke naam par vote mange. Take the vote in your father's name, not on my father's name, Balasaheb Thackeray." In this stern message, he has added that Shinde Sena could also now be sticking on a ticking time bomb. This after a resolution was passed to stop the Shinde group from using Balasaheb's name in their group or a new party eventually. Uddhav faction and therefore has now moved the election commission so that appealing against the misuse of Bal Thackre's name. In a letter written to the election commission, Uddhav's group has mentioned they strongly object to any such party being created in the name or using the name of the Shiv Sena or Balasaheb Thackeray.
तुम्ही जर थांबणार काय करतायत मला म्हणे मी मध्ये पडणार नाही त्यांचा निर्णय त्यांना घेऊन मी नाही मध्ये पडणार तुम्ही जर थांबणार काय करतायत मला म्हणे मी मध्ये पडणार नाही त्यांचा निर्णय त्यांना घेऊन मी नाही मध्ये पडणार
ये सत्य और असत्य की लड़ाई है जो भाग के गए हैं उनके खिलाफ है आपल्याला कार्यकारिणीची बैठकीची मुद्दा सगळे माहिती आहेत सगळे बाहेर आलेले आहेत महत्त्वाची गोष्ट म्हणजे गद्दारी खपून गेली जाणार नाही शिवसेना विजयी होणार म्हणजे होणारच
बालासाहेब ठाकरे का नाम अगर कोई अपने राजनीतिक स्वार्थ के लिए यूज करता है वो हमें मंजूर नहीं उसका ऊपर लीगल एक्शन लिया जाए। मैंने तो मुंबई में उद्धव ठाकरे जी ने एक बहुत बड़ा स्टेटमेंट दिया है अगर जो छोड़कर गए हैं वो लोग शिवसेना का नाम से भीख मत मांगे और अगर वोट मांगते हैं तो अपने खुद के बाप के नाम पर मांगे। शिवसेना के बाप हमारे बाप बालासाहेब ठाकरे के नाम पर मत मांगने का आपको अधिकार नहीं। आप अपने बाप के नाम से वोट मांग सकते।
We are joined by Priyanka Chaturvedi and we'll try and understand what is the action that has been proceeded in this entire meeting. We are told that action was done against the rebel.
We have taken unanimous decision that Shiv Sena will work under the leadership of Shri Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray and whatever he deems fit in terms of action, in terms of reaction, in terms of legalities, in terms of technicalities, in terms of politically, we all stand firmly behind him.
This comes at a time when the Deputy Speaker has summoned Eknath Shinde that he cannot take a call. He should come here and speak to the Deputy Speaker. And on the other hand, continuously Shiv Sena leaders are issuing warnings to the rebel camp. Is it right that the way the law and order situation is deteriorating?
How is law and order situation getting messed up in the city? Are you feeling unsafe in the city? Am I not roaming easily in the city? Who are those who are feeling unsafe? There are those who have, I'll tell you, those who have gone against the mandate of the people, gone against the symbol that they have voted into power, are the ones people are angry towards. So be rest assured, Mumbai's law and order is absolutely in control. We have a good police commissioner who's handling it.
Eknath Shinde is saying that we are the real Shiv Sena. Balasaheb Thackre's Sena is the Shinde Sena.
It's such a joke. It's such a joke. Can you even imagine a Shiv Sena which belongs to Balasaheb Thackeray going to someone like an Eknath Shinde, where I think Chief Minister has categorically said it. If you want to start another party, start it under your own father's name. Why should you use my father's name for it?
So there you are, Priyanka Chaturvedi, specifying that the Shiv Sena is not only clearly a Balasaheb Thackre's Shiv Sena, but it is a Shiv Sena that is identified with Uddhav Thackeray. With video journalist Sanjay, this is Mosmi Singh in Mumbai for India Today.
जो हम लोग ने पिटीशन फाइल की थी उसी के ऊपर सोमवार को 5:30 बजे स्पीकर महोदय के सामने सारे 16 बागी जो विधायक है शिवसेना के उनको आना पड़ेगा और उनकी बाजू उनको यहाँ इन पर्सन आके बोलनी पड़ेगी।
Let's go across now to my colleague Mustafa Sheikh, tracking all the latest on that. Mustafa, eventually it will be about whether the Shinde Sena can manage that splinter group of Balasaheb. But do you think Uddhav Thackeray and his group ensuring that they don't get that opportunity at all?
Well, the question at this point of time is who has the numbers, the better numbers for at least Maharashtra Vidhan Sabha is with the Eknath Shinde camp, and we are here where Eknath Shinde's son, Member of Parliament Shrikant Shinde is present. We are just inside Eknath Shinde's house right now, and they are saying that we are confident that we have the 2/3 majority. Sooner or later we will get the party symbol. That happened in the same case of AIDMK. We have precedents in place, so only what the MVA is doing at this point of time is buying time for themselves. The eventuality has been decided. Back to you.
Happening. We can see Netas are reacting. Athavale also says we support the Shinde group, but the Uddhav Thackeray group, Aditya Thackeray are meeting, acknowledging supporters. So if you can also, I understand that you may be right now surrounded with other Netas as well, and you are, I'm being told, at another politician's residence. But if you can update, Mustafa, of how precisely the Shiv Sena as it stands today will continue to take a confident, aggressive approach.
Well, what Shiv Sena is doing right now under Uddhav Thackeray is trying to gather as much as Shiv Sainik as possible to understand the situation, to understand what has been the damage to the party. Remember, in the Maharashtra Assembly, there has been huge damage. 2/3 is the number which Eknath Shinde has. Somewhere, Shiv Sena and Uddhav Thackeray is assuming and hoping that some of the MLAs jump ship from Eknath Shinde's camp. That is only which can save, which can affect anti-defection law. If that does not happen, then it's a clear 2/3 majority, and hence Shiv Sena at this point of time is planning and motivating and boosting its cadre, because even if the government is lost, Shiv Sena will again have to fight the upcoming BMC elections on the cadre which is left. It's possible that this rift extends from the Maharashtra Assembly and goes on the local levels where corporations will also be distributed and people will shift loyalty. So that is something that the Shiv Sena is bracing for. Back to you.
Mustafa, keep tracking the latest on that. So, of course, a lot of strategies, permutations and combinations that are on. But Uddhav Thackeray, remember, had a national executive meeting today. Turning their stand slightly aggressive, what does the Shiv Sena under the leadership of Uddhav Thackeray say today in their resolution letter? 6 important points, the highlights here, the takeaways. Now, on top, it is all about Balasaheb's name that Uddhav Thackeray and the Shiv Sena says we will not let anyone else use it. It always belongs, the Shiv Sena as it stands, will always belong to Balasaheb Thackeray, the founder, the patriarch, the father of Uddhav Thackeray, which means there will be no compromise on the Marathi pride, which primarily has been the focus of the foundation of the Shiv Sena. But why specifically about the Marathi pride? They are stating that nobody will be allowed to misuse the name of Balasaheb Thackeray, and therefore any such reference or action on it will be objected to. And that is why a letter has been written to the Election Commission by Uddhav Thackeray and the Shiv Sena, objecting to anyone's use of that name, which means if the rebel group decides to go ahead and misuse it, they will be disqualified, there will be action taken against it. Now, number 5 is very important. Will not let the rebels use Balasaheb's name, making it very clear that this is our point of the resolution today of the National Executive of the Shiv Sena, which includes not just the MLAs, but the members there all across for the party. But number 6, eventually expressing support, saying we will contest only under the leadership of Uddhav Thackeray as it stands with regard to the Shiv Sena. So the National Executive members coming out in support for Uddhav Thackeray. So some of those party netas, they're ensuring, and members of the party, to continue to show support for Uddhav Thackeray. But it will be, as you can see, a legacy war on Balasaheb's name now. Because Eknath Shinde is clearly moving in for the kill, pushing for a new name, at least of a splinter group, and he will be aiming to call it Shiv Sena Balasaheb. Uddhav Thackeray, digging in his heels, will not accept any of that happening and hits out at the Shinde camp, saying Shiv Sena and the Thackerays are synonymous with each other, and is threatening the rebel group against using the name of his father.
Which is the real Shiv Sena? Who will inherit Balasaheb Thackeray's legacy? And who will rule Maharashtra? This raging political Mahabharat has now entered a legal battleground. Both Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray and rebel Eknath Shinde are staking claim as the rightful heir of Shiv Sena.
शिवसेना कदापि हिंदुत्वापासून आणि हिंदुत्व कदापि शिवसेनेपासून दूर होऊ शकत नाही. कारण शिवसेना प्रमुखांनी जो एक कानमंत्र दिलेला है कि हिंदुत्व हा आमचा श्वास है.
अभी तो हम लोग तो कल भी हम बाला साहब ठाकरे जी के सैनिक थे, आज भी है, कल भी रहेंगे.
लेकिन क्या फिर अभी
बाला साहब ठाकरे जी की जो आइडियोलॉजी है, उनकी भूमिका है, उसे ही हम लोग आगे लेके जाना चाहते हैं.
One thing is clear, a split in Shiv Sena is now inevitable. Shinde and 37 MLAs have broken rank from the Uddhav Sena. They are now the majority, leaving the original Shiv Sena to be reduced to a minority party. And now, Shinde Sena is moving in for the kill by laying claim to the bow and arrow symbol of the original Shiv Sena.
जब एमएलए लोगों की जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में अगर कोई काम नहीं होता है या उनके ऊपर अन्याय होता है, तो अन्याय के खिलाफ लड़ने की सीख जो है हमारे को बाला साहब ठाकरे जी ने दी है.
The Shinde camp is reportedly forming a new rebel party called Shiv Sena Balasaheb. Another resounding message that they are carrying forward Balasaheb's Hindutva ideology.
हम आज भी विचारधारा से जुड़े हुए हैं, इसलिए हमने ये नाम रखा है कि शिवसेना बालासाहेब, क्योंकि शिवसेना वहां पे वो पार्टी का नाम है, शिवसेना बालासाहेब गट करके नाम रखा है और उस गट को रिकॉग्निशन देना चाहिए.
Uddhav Thackeray too is digging in his heels, hitting out at Shinde camp, saying Shiv Sena and Thackerays are synonyms.
ठाकरे आणि शिवसेना ही दोन शब्द वेगळे करून तुम्ही शिवसेना चालून दाखवाच. माझं आज सुद्धा आव्हान आहे. काळा बाळासाहेबांचाही फोटो वापरायचा नाही, मी तर नालायकच आहे, माझा फोटो लावूच नका. पण बाळासाहेबांचाही फोटो न लावता तुम्ही शिवसेना नावाने जगून दाखवा.
But who decides which is the real Shiv Sena? The matter can be only decided by the Election Commission. Election Commission will also decide on allotment of party symbol on set rules if Eknath Shinde seeks official recognition. Till then, the war of words, war for legacy and the war for power will only get bigger. Bureau Report, India Today.
Our editor Kamlesh Uddar joins me now on this live telecast. Kamlesh, because with the experience that you have of covering Maharashtra politics, how will this play out? Because it will not be that easy even for Shinde to take the name of Balasaheb as a splinter group or a new party. So how is Uddhav Thackeray stopping it, and how is Eknath Shinde ensuring that he manages to now lead the new group?
It will happen on two grounds. First, it has to be the political narrative. One will have to be played on the political front and one on the legal front. On the political front, Uddhav Thackeray, since yesterday we have seen, is trying to create a narrative that the Shiv Sena is being hijacked, taken over by something else, and that is why he is into huddle with his party leaders and all party workers. We have seen Uddhav Thackeray taking to the streets, meeting his party workers, holding meeting with corporators, district chiefs and other Shiv Sena leaders. That is on one part. Uddhav Thackeray Shiv Sena is saying that we are the original Shiv Sena and this is just a breakaway faction from the Shiv Sena. On the other hand, we've seen Eknath Shinde trying to create that narrative by saying we are the original Balasaheb Thackeray Shiv Sena. We are taking forward his legacy and his ideology. That is what Deepak Kesarkar also said in his press conference. We have not walked out of Shiv Sena. We have not quit the Shiv Sena. That is what they are trying to say.
Yes.
On the other hand, look at the legislative party. The legislative party's majority is certainly with Eknath Shinde group. Eknath Shinde has the 2/3 majority that is required to form a separate group. But Uddhav Thackeray made it clear this afternoon that you cannot use the name of either Shiv Sena nor Balasaheb. Though it is ultimately for the Election Commission to decide, Uddhav Thackeray is just trying to send across a message that you cannot use our name and our legacy. You can use your father's name, not mine. That is on the other hand. But as experts have been saying that since they have 2/3 majority, though they cannot be disqualified, they will have to merge their group into other party. Now that is where the catch is. So the legal battle is going to go on for another few days. This is not just ending soon, both on the political front as well as the legal front.
Also, Eknath Shinde is very confident at this point. Kamlesh, that they will not be disqualified. We have some big news coming in, but I do have a point that, it will continue to be there. It's a pot boiler that, is witnessing constant twists and turns. And I'll come back to you, Kamlesh, on that. We have some more news coming in. Let's take a look at that. All right, what we are having and details coming in from Maharashtra. Remember, it's a developing story. Kamlesh, as you continue to be with me. All right, this news is regarding... We have some more developments coming in from the state of Maharashtra. At this point, what you're looking at are the visuals of Teesta Setalwar. We're now being told that the activist Teesta Setalwar was brought into the Santa Cruz police station. The Gujarat anti-terror squad officials were there, but now Teesta Setalwar has been taken into arrest by the Gujarat ATS team. She will be brought to Ahmedabad crime branch. So definitely it appears that a time of trouble for Teesta Setalwar. This is, remember, hours after the court also continuing to give a clean chit with regard to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Home Minister Amit Shah had also said that there were deliberate conspiracy theories and misinformation campaign that was targeted at the Prime Minister. But now, activist Teesta Setalwar has been taken into arrest by the Gujarat ATS team, the anti-terror squad. That's the details that's coming in. Remember, this is big news at this point because this is the Gujarat police, the Gujarat ATS, that has taken into arrest Teesta Setalwar. She's currently in Mumbai. She was brought to the Santa Cruz police station, and from there she's likely to be taken to the Ahmedabad crime branch. We'll be shortly getting our reporters on the ground as well. But this is the latest that I can tell you has come as a confirmation. Just about half an hour ago, she was brought to the Santa Cruz police station. Now, this is about siphoning of funds. This is about misinformation campaign that Teesta Setalwar ran, and this specifically is about the 2002 riots that had taken place in the state of Gujarat. The Gujarat police, we are being told, has registered a case against 3 accused, not only just Teesta Setalwar, but former IPS officer Sanjeev Bhatt, former IPS officer RB Srikumar, and Teesta Setalwar, who's now been taken into arrest. So this was about giving false information, wrong information, and consistently focusing on that, and also pushing the target with regard to now Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who was then the Chief Minister of the state of Gujarat. Remember that there were several petitions that were put by Zakia Jafri in the court, and it is being alleged that there was also some false information that was provoked by Teesta Setalwar and was pushed by her to have Zakia Jafri petition in the court with that false and fake information to the Special Investigation Team head and to other commissions. Now, the investigation has found out that through these petitions, the information that was added, was it at the behest of the activist Teesta Setalwar, who's now been taken into arrest? As of now, the details that we have on our screens is that eventually, as you can see, these are the latest visuals, the arrest has come. But what happens next? Because we can already see that at this point, this is, just to give you a background, Teesta Setalwar has been a known activist, specifically with regard to the 2002 Gujarat riots campaigns, and consistently had been putting out information. On target was the then Chief Minister Narendra Modi, but now with the court also now continuing to give a clean chit, and Home Minister Amit Shah also speaking today saying there was a deliberate conspiracy campaign targeted at him. I saw him suffer quietly for 20 years. But now, this with regard to the petition of Zakia Jafri, the allegations are, was it by Teesta Setalwar and at her behest that there was false information that was being pushed through? Former IPS officer Sanjeev Bhatt has been named in the FIR. Former IPS officer RB Srikumar has also been named in this. So we are staying with these story right now, the big news that is coming in, because at this point, remember, Teesta Setalwar had gained a lot of prominence with her campaigns with regard to the 2002 riots case. But now, as it appears, that could there have been false and incorrect information that had been pushed out. But this is specifically about her NGO. Teesta Setalwar runs an NGO, Citizens for Peace, and that also has faced siphoning of funds and incorrect information that she had been spreading. So there are two different cases here that has been referenced to. Initially, she was detained by the Gujarat anti-terror squad officers who had reached her residence, had taken her to the Santa Cruz police station, which is as per protocol. And then after that, she's now been taken into arrest and likely will be now moved to Gujarat. The investigation found out that there was false information that was given through a petition, and that is now emerging with the action that is being taken against her. This is the FIR copy there on your screens right now. And there are the details of not only 3 accused who have been mentioned, repeating again here for our viewers: Teesta Setalwad, former IPS officer R.B. Srikumar, and also former IPS officer Sanjeev Bhatt. So as we closely look at this FIR copy, we can see that the 3 names that have been mentioned here, all of this, of course, remember, is in some way also interconnected. This is after Zakia Jafri, whose husband Ehsan Jafri was killed in the 2002 Gujarat riots case. The petitions that she had been putting in the court, and the court yesterday, I beg your pardon, had continued to give the clean chit to then Chief Minister Narendra Modi. The question that was being raised, and now the investigation, according to the officers of the ATS, that the petitions had mentions and inputs by Teesta Setalwad, and most of it appeared to be incorrect, is what the investigation had found. Dev Kotak is right now on location. Dev, over to you now, because you were showing us how earlier she was taken to the Santa Cruz police station, then she was detained, now she's arrested. Do you have the FIR copy with you? Do you have more details, Dev? Over to you, please.
Yes, if I can just point it out, firstly to begin with, this is a letter from D.B. Barad, who is the police inspector, Crime Branch, Ahmedabad. It's written here in Gujarati. Also, if I can point out the sections to you very quickly, the IPC sections are 457, 471, 194, 211, 218 and 120B, criminal conspiracy. These are all the sections under the Indian Penal Code. It also says that starting from 2002 until present date, until today, these are the kind of details that have also been mentioned in this copy, in this letter that was shared with the members of the press and the media by Teesta Setalwad's lawyer while being dragged away and forcefully taken away in a jeep. Teesta Setalwad also said this arrest is illegal. The way they have detained me is really not fair. She claimed that she was also assaulted inside her bungalow when a team of officials from the Ahmedabad crime branch entered her house. There were two teams. Of policemen from Gujarat, while one team was here at the Santa Cruz police station completing the paperwork and the documentation so as to ensure that her detention or arrest becomes a lot easier, and another team was in the meanwhile trying to pick her up from her bungalow at Nirant, which is also the premises and the shared office space of her NGO CJP, Citizens for Justice and Peace. She is on her way right now. It has been almost close to 30 minutes that she was taken away from the police station to Ahmedabad via road. A jeep, a jeep bearing the Gujarat registration number is also on its way out, and about half a dozen to 7 police officials from the crime branch were present at the time when they took her away. So these are the kind of details we have for now. But also one very interesting thing is the fact that, let me point out to this letter which Teesta Setalwad wrote to senior PI Balasaheb of the Santa Cruz police station. It says that I fear for my life. These are the kind of, they did not show me any FIR or tell me why they had 8 to 10 people who had barged into my compound. I have a big bruise on my left hand, which I showed to my lawyer, Mr. Kulkarni. This happened around 3:45 p.m. approximately. This is the kind of chronology. Around 1 p.m. on my office land, I got a call from CISF Noida, who came and asked my colleague who had been picked up, and asked who was in charge of my security and how many people asked, calling for her and asking her to be present. So of course there was no asking, there was no requesting her to be present, but straight away they had barged into her home and they had picked her up without really giving her any kind of reasonable explanation. and she was brought here, like I mentioned earlier, at the Santa Cruz police station. And also she is being transported from Maharashtra to Gujarat because the team of Ahmedabad Crime Branch was here to personally and physically take custody of the activist who has been in question, especially since Mr. Amit Shah, the Union Home Minister, gave an interview to a news channel, rubbishing all her claims as baseless. So these are the kind of details that
Dave,
we have
keep
for now.
tracking
Of course,
all the
we'll keep
latest,
bringing
because as I'm reading through this specific FIR that you also have a copy and access to, very clearly here the crime branch is saying that it clearly shows that Sanjeev Bhatt, RB Srikumar, Teesta Setalwad had conspired to abuse the process of law by fabricating false evidence to make several persons to be convicted for an offence that is punishable, and also adding that constantly by Zakia Jafri's petitions that were filed, whether it was the SLP or the petition in 2006, which was also with regard to the Citizens of Justice and Peace, which is an NGO headed by Teesta Setalwad, that Teesta Setalwad, according to the crime branch, was constantly tutoring Zakia Jafri to say what and how. So in this 10-page FIR copy, as I'm going through and scrolling right now, we'll try and get you the highlights and key takeaways soon from it. It claims to state very clearly here, establishing that Sanjeev Bhatt was lying, that he attended a meeting on 27th February, but he wasn't there. RB Srikumar also stated incorrect information, and Teesta Setalwad tutored some of those survivors. Listen in to what the lawyers are saying.
Teesta Setalwad, human rights activist, and who has been helping the victims of Gujarat riots and many across the country in many other cases, has been arrested today. She has been taken by Gujarat ATS right now, and the sections which they are applying is 468 and 471. We don't know the full details of the case as yet. We were not informed. They barged into, they assaulted her and they have taken her. फोर्जरी का केस है, तो हमको अभी डिटेल नहीं मालूम है कि क्या फोर्जरी का केस है। 468 और 471 बोला गया है।
Teesta Setalwad officially taken into arrest by the Gujarat ATS. This in Mumbai. She'll be then taken to Ahmedabad shortly. Leaving you with these visuals and the FIR copy. We'll be tracking the latest from Maharashtra. Heading into a very short break. Stay tuned. You're watching India Today. Thank you.
You are watching India Today.
The men and women who built Indian industry, and the young guns who are shaping tomorrow's India. From storied careers to unicorn dreams, the past meets the future on the Business Today show with Uday and Mukherjee.
Do you want to hear dead people? Well, you might in the near future through Alexa. Amazon is all set to go a notch higher in the tech world with the introduction of its latest feature of Alexa. During Amazon's Global Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning Conference, Alexa AI gave an unusual demo by mimicking the voice of a dead relative to a child. Yes, you heard it right. Through the use of artificial intelligence and recent advancements in text-to-speech technology, Alexa will be able to mimic someone's voice using less than a minute of recording. The AI may not eliminate the loss of your loved ones, but it can definitely make their memories last longer. While this may be comforting for some people grieving, a lot of netizens are feeling uneasy about the whole idea. Especially Twitterati is quite apprehensive and using hashtags like creepy and morbid for this new Alexa feature.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You
Question on everyone's mind right now for Maharashtra politics is, will Eknath Shinde be the next big leader of the Shiv Sena led with the name of Balasaheb Thackeray, or Uddhav Thackeray will manage to stop it? Right now, remember, the rebellion is on. The question is, who will win this time? Take a look at the special report.
Uddhav, Raj or Eknath Shinde, who will win the battle for Balasaheb's legacy? With the rebel camp numbers swelling, Eknath Shinde is all set to give a double blow to Uddhav Thackeray. Not just is he all set to push him off the Chief Minister's chair, but is also likely to end Uddhav Thackeray's reign in the Shiv Sena. With the rebel camp near close to proving two-thirds majority, the question is if Eknath Shinde will now float his own party. Eknath Shinde claims to be a true Shiv Sainik and has promised to work on the ideals of Balasaheb Thackeray.
सभी लोग जो है हम बाला साहब ठाकरे जी का जो हिंदुत्व है इस और उनकी जो भूमिका है उसको हम लोग आगे ले जाना चाहते हैं.
Uddhav Thackeray has not had it easy either. 2 months after Bal Thackeray's demise, Sena Executive President Uddhav Thackeray took over as the Sena President in January 2013. He admitted, though, that he could never replace his father, and epithets like Supremo and Hindu Hriday Samrat will always be associated to his father, Bal Thackeray. Trying to stay true to its Hindutva ideology, Shiv Sena under Uddhav Thackeray had allied with the BJP in 2014. The situation reversed, though, in 2019, with the two parties joining hands to fight polls together, yet splitting soon after, as BJP won 105 seats, refused to give up the Chief Minister's chair to the Shiv Sena, who landed 56 seats in the 288-member assembly. Uddhav then took the unexpected route to the throne by allying with Congress and NCP. Uddhav Thackeray since then has been slammed for shunning Sena founder's Hindutva legacy. He did respond to critics, though, saying that his idea of Hindutva is different. Taking a jibe at the BJP, Uddhav was heard saying he does not want a Hindu Rashtra which is not peaceful.
शिवसेना कदापि हिंदुत्वापासून आणि हिंदुत्व कदापि शिवसेनेपासून दूर होऊ शकत नाही. कारण शिवसेना प्रमुखांनी जो एक कानमंत्र दिलेला आहे की हिंदुत्व हा आमचा श्वास आहे.
On the sidelines now is also Raj Thackeray, the nephew of Bal Thackeray. The MNS chief, in fact, bears close resemblance to his uncle in looks, aggression and oratory skills. He broke away from the Shiv Sena over tussle on who will be Bal Thackeray's political heir. Raj Thackeray founded MNS in 2006 and popularized Sons of the Soil campaign, over which Shiv Sena was built in 1966. The brightest showing for the MNS was in 2009 when Raj Thackeray ate into the Shiv Sena and BJP votes in Mumbai, Thane, Pune and Nashik, bagging 13 seats of the 288 assembly. MNS since has seen rapid decline. In 2014 and 2019 assembly elections, MNS managed to secure just one assembly seat, losing deposit in most others. In May 2014 Lok Sabha polls, Raj Thackeray openly backed Narendra Modi for Prime Minister and fielded candidates mostly against the Sena. However, in 2019 Lok Sabha polls, Raj Thackeray took a U-turn, criticized Narendra Modi but did not contest polls. Well, Uddhav Thackeray had till lately been the popular choice to take forward Bal Thackeray's legacy. But of all the revolts that the Shiv Sena has faced in over 50 years of its existence, the current one, led by Eknath Shinde, looks the most threatening. Uddhav now needs nothing short of a miracle to salvage his party. Vijay Kumar for India Today.
But the political battle seeing its consequences on the streets as well, as angry Shiv Sena workers have taken to the streets, vandalizing rebel MLA offices, burning effigies. Here's a complete report of how there's vandalism and violence taking place in the streets in different areas of Maharashtra.
Violence, vandalism, arson and a full-blown street fight. As the political scenario in Maharashtra escalates, Uddhav Sena's fury against rebel MLAs is now in full force. For Shiv Senics, all the rebel MLAs are traitors who've ditched Balasaheb's legacy and his family in a very difficult time. And the Shiv Senics are on the rampage. And it's Eknath Shinde who's in the line of fire. Eknath Shinde's son, Member of Parliament Shrikant Shinde's office, was vandalized by Shiv Senics in Ulhasnagar. Offices, posters and anything linked to the rebel MLAs is now on target of the Uddhav Sena. Office of rebel MLA Tanaji Sawant in Pune was vandalized by the protesters who warned him of violent consequences the moment he returns to the tiger's den. Shiv Senics were also seen breaking window panes, shouting slogans against Tanaji Sawant.
एकनाथ शिंदे के जो भी नागपुर में बैनर लगेंगे, हम शिवसेना युवा सेना के तरफ से हम उनको लगने नहीं देंगे. ये हमारी तरफ से एक चेतावनी है, जो भी ये बैनर लगाएंगे उनके लिए.
In different parts of Maharashtra, effigies of rebel MLAs were burnt amidst chants of Shiv Sena Zindabad. This is in the first instance when offices of rebel Sena MLAs have been targeted. On the 23rd of June, Shiv Senics vandalized hoardings of rebel Sena MLAs in Mumbai. Hoardings of rebel MLA Mangesh Kudalkar were damaged and posters of MLA Dilip Lande were also smeared with ink. The situation is such that Mumbai police has had to issue not just an alert but also prohibitory orders across police stations in Mumbai and Thane, trying to ensure security at all political offices in the city. As tempers rise, Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut threatened the Eknath Shinde faction, asking them to be prepared for more.
देखिए महाराष्ट्र में सब कुछ ठीक है, लॉ एंड ऑर्डर की बात करें, शांतता हो, सब कुछ ठीक है, लेकिन लोगों का गुस्सा, अभी देखिए अग्निवीर का मामला है, लोग गुस्से में है, लोग सड़क पर उतर गए. लोगों को अगर एक चीज़ पसंद नहीं पड़ती है, ये जनता है, पब्लिक क्राय है, तो लोग सड़क पर उतर जाते हैं. यही कार्यकर्ताओं ने आपको चुन को दिया है, आप शिवसेना के उम्मीदवार बने, शिवसेना ने आपको टिकट दिया, शिवसेना के कार्यकर्ताओं ने खून पसीना बहाया, सब कुछ दिया, पैसा भी दिया चुनने के लिए, आपको विधायक बनाया और अब भाग जाते हो. तो कार्यकर्ता तो गुस्से में हो गए. मैंने क्या कहा कल कि आप मुंबई में आइए, ये अल्टीमेटम की बात नहीं है. मैंने कहा आप आपके घर के हैं, आप हमारे बच्चे हैं, दोस्त है, भाई है. वहाँ सूरत में भागते हो, गुवाहाटी में भागते हो, अब मुझे किसी ने बोला कि गोवा में जा रहे हो. ये दर की ठोकरें खाने की जरूरत क्या है, आप घर में आइए.
Union Minister Ramdas Athavale hit out at Uddhav Thackeray's government over this vandalism and threats.
2/3 मेजॉरिटी से एकनाथ शिंदे के साथ एमएलए चले गए हैं, तो उनको मतलब शिवसेना की मान्यता मिलनी चाहिए और इसी तरह की दादागिरी करना अच्छी बात नहीं है. जो तोड़फाड़ हो रही है इसको रोकने की आवश्यकता है, लेकिन पुलिस के सामने इसी तरह की तोड़फाड़ हो रही है, ये बात बिल्कुल नाजायज है और बहुत ही गंभीर बात है.
With Uddhav Sena and Shinde Sena on the warpath, the fight is now getting downright personal and dirty. Bureau Report, India Today.
And on the biggest midnight scoop here on India Today, we have more details of Eknath Shinde's secret visit last night to Gujarat and how he flew back again to Guwahati in Assam. Details are emerging and sources are telling us that there was an Eknath Shinde and Devendra Fadnavis meeting. So could that be the first big signal of the rebel group and the Bharatiya Janata Party faction finally meeting? Could they be all set to make the first move? We are being told that late last night, and likely after midnight, Eknath Shinde travels to Vadodara in Gujarat in a chartered aircraft and then met Devendra Fadnavis. All of this, is the big update coming in on this. We are now joined by the latest with my colleague Ankit on that. Ankit, very interesting. So Vadodara and a meeting with Devendra Fadnavis. As clear as it gets with a BJP hand in this.
What we have been doing so far is that we have been tracking flights that have been coming and leaving Guwahati during this political crisis in Maharashtra. What we observed and what later was confirmed by sources by our Mumbai bureau chief Sahil is that there was indeed a late night meeting in Vadodara involving top leaders of not only of BJP but also Shinde was participated in that meeting. What we did was we tracked the flight data and we observed that at least 4 different private jets took off from Guwahati, from Delhi, from Mumbai, and then it went via Indore to Vadodara. It all started at around 8 p.m. in yesterday evening when a private jet that flew from Delhi landed at Guwahati. It stayed there for about 2.5 hours. At around 10:30 p.m. yesterday evening, it flew back to Delhi. It stayed there for 15 minutes only. And then another private jet that was waiting at Delhi airport, that flew to Vadodara. That stayed there for about half an hour and then went back to Delhi. Then what we saw on the flight data was that another private jet that took off from Mumbai landed at Indore, that also reached Vadodara.
Ankit, I request you to please stay on with me. Ankit Kumar tracking all the latest. Remember, he's one of our best investigative reporters and he was able to track down that the aircraft flew to Vadodara and there was a meeting with Devendra Fadnavis, after which early in the morning, the aircraft returned to Guwahati. Arvind Sawant, Shiv Sena MP, is joining me now. Sir, clearly at this point, when we look at this development, as is being confirmed by India Today, could this be perhaps a clarity more that the Bharatiya Janata Party is all out to support Eknath Shinde and the rebel group?
Yeah, it's a truth. The truth. Everyone knows it. That since beginning, the BJP is behind it. We were knowing it. The BJP is only doing it. You just think of it. How much money is being spent on this? From there only you can make out who can do that. Who has got so much of power? Who has got so much of money? That shows now the politics is being ruined in the country.
But the Bharatiya Janata Party says...
destroying the culture. Yeah.
So the BJP says we have nothing to do with this. We are not in a hurry. We are waiting. It is up to the Shiv Sena to decide. So this is their official stand. Yes.
This is again a deceptive way of expressing their views. The fact is that why they go to went to Surat. Who's there? Who's ruling in Surat? Who is ruling in Assam? Which party is ruling over there? That itself shows it. BJP is being, because unless, see how come the Gujarat police gives the support to such an extent? There are around 200, they say 300, 400 police officers were there. That shows it's BJP, nothing else, nothing. No, you don't need any investigation in this.
Sir, as my colleague Ankit Kumar is giving us details, said the aircraft went to Vadodara, not Ahmedabad, the city there, but also in giving details that it's Devendra Fadnavis who the meeting was with. But at this point, Mr. Arvind Sawant, it's not that they can immediately stake claim to the government. So what do you think the secret meetings are for? They will have to have their own party.
Important issue is that, okay, we don't bother. We have the power to come again, fly like a Finnish bird. So through actions we will fly again. We have experiences in the past. This type of blows Shiv Sena has experienced in the past also. So we know how to come up with all these things. But the greed of the people for the power is being seen by the country over here. And for the power, what a party of a difference behaves. Party of a difference is behaving. The way they are behaving, they are destroying the democratic culture of the country.
Arvind Sawant, I request you to stay on. Our senior executive editor Sahil Joshi is also now joining me. Sahil, a big scoop there, and Arvind Sawant, the Shiv Sena MP, is joining us. Over to you if you would like to take also a question here.
Well, Mr. Sawant, what it seems now that Mr. Shinde has the numbers. They are saying that they have 2/3 MLAs with them. 38 MLAs they are claiming to have, which if they have the numbers, nobody can stop them from at least forming a separate group. May not be the Shiv Sena Legislative Party group, but some other group, and eventually if they decide they can merge with other party. What it seems is that your government seems to be in the minority at this point of time. Do you accept that you don't have the numbers at this point of time, or you still think that once these MLAs are back in Mumbai, you can still gather them together and form the government again, or to save your government again?
The latter part of your statement is much more important. You know, the fact is that there are number of MLAs who are in touch with us. They are saying that we are being forcibly confined to the hotel. They are not allowed to go anywhere. And you see the way it was, they were kept under the cage at Gujarat, again at Assam, and you have seen it the way they are. The police is manhandling the people over there, and therefore we are today also we have said our doors are open. If they come, it's okay. If they don't come, still we are ready to face the situation. We don't bother, even if they're 2/3 and other thing. But take it from me that the law says they cannot remain a separate group. They cannot be, their existence will not be a separate group. They will have to merge with someone. The moment they show that they are 2/3, more than 2/3, they will have to merge with someone. Either it is a BJP or it may be a party, wherever they. But they cannot remain as a Shiv Sena.
Okay.
Keep it in mind.
Okay.
You must
Okay.
keep
Mr.
it in
Sawant,
mind.
you are saying
and this is the deceptive way of telling the people we are Shiv Sainik, we are Shiv Sena, we are Balasaheb Shiv Sena. All those are bogus statements. You know, they are liars. They were liars. They are liars. And future also they will go.
Mr. Sawant, what about those people who were there in Mumbai? They didn't go to Surat on the first day. On Tuesday, they were here in Mumbai. They were part of your meeting in Varsha. They were part of the meeting in Shiv Sena Bhavan. They were even protesting against Eknath Shinde. And the next day, what we saw is that they were...
You must have heard the Honorable
Mr.
Chief Minister of Maharashtra and the party chief has said. He said, I don't feel that the people should be confined forcibly. If they don't have a will to continue, let them go. And in our meeting, earlier meeting also he said, if they desire to go, don't force them to stay in the hotel, let them go. And that is why we have given the freedom. And they have been sold out. Everyone knows it. But you people don't have daring to speak about it. Everyone knows it.
Do you have confidence to take the no confidence?
A huge amount, which they never dreamt of. They were never dreamt of. That much amount has been offered to them, and the people either eating, threatening, or money. All these three things have been applied, and people have gone for that. Okay, let them go if they don't believe in the thoughts. This is your Hindutva. This is your Hindutva. Okay then.
Mr. Sawant, do you have confidence that you will be able to take the no confidence vote if tomorrow the governor asks you to take the no confidence vote on the floor of the house?
Yeah, what is there?
Are you confident that you will be able to take the vote? And secondly, do you foresee that there will be a precedent?
We may lose this.
No.
Are we born for that? We care a hit. We care a hoot about it. Look at the way Honorable Uddhav ji has behaved. Look at the way he has showed that he really is not greedy of the power or the chair. He left Varsha. The moment he has seen it, the people are living like this. And
are you confident you have the majority?
That shows the
Are you confident you have the majority?
Who is not greedy for the chair. Those who are greedy for the chair and sold out commodity has gone to go.
No, are you confident that you have the numbers? You have the numbers? Are you confident you have the numbers?
Don't bother. I said just why. Are you listening to me or not? I care a hoot.
No, I'm listening to you. Yeah.
Then I care a hoot for it, I said. Even if we lose, we don't bother about it. We want people to be loyal. And these are not the loyal people that they see what has happened in the past. How many people have left Shiv Sena? How many people have left in other parties? What has happened to them? What has happened to them? Just go through the history of it.
The political party and the Shiv Sena is strongly behind.
Party will not get any harm out of it.
You don't worry that Eknath Shinde will try to take on the symbol or the name and all that stuff. You have no worry about that because he's saying that he also has the support of the cabinet.
Forget about law. Don't you apply logic at least? How can you take a symbol just because few MLAs are gone? Is it the symbol of the MLAs? There are not.
No, it's a legislative party. We understand that.
There are other MLAs. There are corporators. There are Jilla Parishad members. There are Panchayat members. There are Sarpanch. What are these? It's the people who vote for a Roy Naro. It's not he. Tomorrow somebody from the other side will say, we are going so can they do it? Is it logical? It is unlawful also. It cannot be done. Keep it in mind. See in the past what has happened.
Okay, lastly, I want to understand. Are you going to fire all the ministers who have gone to Guwahati at this point of time? 7 to 8 ministers are there at this point of time in Guwahati. Is the Chief Minister of the opinion that these people should not be the ministers anymore in the cabinet? Because you have not started the disqualification procedure against all the MLAs. You have started only against the 16 people.
Lawful action, legal action has been initiated and it is in the process. Whether the notices have been given for the disqualification, we have demanded, we have given petitions against 16 members. Let us see, it's a legal battle now. So we are there. We are ready to fight with the legal battle right now. Okay.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Sawant, for speaking to India today about this. Pooja, you heard Mr. Sawant. He's saying that, from his, when we are trying to ask him whether he has the numbers, he says that they don't care if they have the numbers or not. What it clearly seen is that right now, the situation right now is what happens tomorrow is a different thing. You can always have a hope. And Shiv Sena really hopes that when these people will be back in Mumbai, there is a possibility that some MLAs may switch over. But right now, what is the situation? 38 MLAs who were elected on Shiv Sena's ticket, 2/3 of the MLAs of the Shiv Sena's original 56 are right now with
Sahil, this big meeting, the midnight meeting that took place in Vadodara, likely with Devendra Fadnavis and Eknath Shinde, perhaps reveals a lot more that could be happening behind closed doors.
Well, that is something which is really interesting because this is the first time after what happened that day, after Eknath Shinde switched over and went to Surat. After that, this is for the first time Devendra Fadnavis and Eknath Shinde would have met in person. Maybe they might have been in touch because, let's understand the chronology, how it started. On 10th of June, there were Rajya Sabha elections in Maharashtra.
Yes.
The 10th of June, NDA, the BJP, got 10 votes more from the MVA quota. So there were 10 MLAs who cross-voted to the BJP side. These MLAs were mostly independent and the smaller parties. That's what the MVA thought. Didn't pay much of the attention. They still had the majority. Now on 20th of June, there were Vidhan Parishad elections, the Legislative Council elections. In those elections, 21 people from MVA cross-voted to the BJP. But that was not enough. The cross-voting happened within Shiv Sena as well, and that was the ringing bell. After that, the party woke up and started calling Eknath Shinde, realizing in the night that Eknath Shinde is no more to be traced. After that, from the next day onwards, Eknath Shinde is out of Mumbai. So Devendra Fadnavis meeting Eknath Shinde clearly shows now that there will be a last leg of this whole
very interesting. Are we looking at perhaps the next big move, Sahil, with regard to the government formation or perhaps how the Shiv Sena will be in the next few days? Sahil, I have to head into a very short commercial break, but stay on with us because, it is a potboiler, a thriller with constant twists and turns. And India Today getting you all the latest, heading into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching.
You are watching India Today.
La main des aides-soignants. Pourquoi ? Parce que les aides-soignants, aujourd'hui, ils sont globalement sous l'eau. ils ne peuvent plus faire leur métier qui est de soigner. Et donc nous, Emobots, on leur fournit cette information de l'état émotionnel. Ils vont pouvoir mieux comprendre l'évolution de l'émotion de leurs résidents, de leurs patients. Et derrière, on sera aussi capable d'objectiver. C'est-à-dire qu'aujourd'hui, quand on fait un test pour la dépression, c'est un test normé, ponctuel. On demande à la personne de verbaliser les informations. Et donc ça pose plein de problèmes. Et notamment de difficultés pour les personnes qui ne peuvent pas verbaliser.
You are watching
Facial recognition is a biometric technology used to authenticate or identify an individual from a photograph or a facial image. The technique makes it possible to authenticate identity, to check that an individual is who he or she claims to be. The image is compared to an existing image in a database. A person can also be identified in a group, place, image or database. From a still or from video, software generates an image based on the face's unique traits, the base of the ears, the distance between the two pupils, the shape of the nose, eyebrows and mouth, and the even skin grain. Hair and clothes are not taken into account. The next step is to compare the face print with images in the database. To reduce the margin of error, the quality of the image must be good. The face must be well lit, full face at a correct distance from the lens. Originally used to fight crime, facial recognition now has more mundane uses such as accessing bank accounts and social media platforms. But there are worries it could also present a threat to privacy and individual liberties. The technology also raises questions about the use of databases.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
You are watching
India's #1 political reporter.
Defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye, unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% pure prime time. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Only on India Today TV. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You are watching India Today. You are watching India Today.
Good evening and welcome. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Pooja Shali. Let's begin first with the headlines. Uddhav Thackeray moves the Election Commission to win the Balasaheb legacy. Uddhav Thackeray will be ensuring nobody uses Balasaheb's name and definitely not the splinter group. Warning, rebels are sticking on a ticking time bomb. Disqualification notice issued to rebel MLAs. Rebels asked to respond by 5 p.m. on 27 June. Eknath Shinde also given notice. Shinde makes a big claim in a fresh letter, says security cover withdrawn for all the rebel MLAs, but the Mahavikas Aghadi government has dismissed this claim. Shiv Senics resorting to hooliganism on the streets, vandalized rebel MLA's office in Pune. Sanjay Raut justifies the violence, says fire once lit cannot be doused.
बात रही डर की, डर तो रहना ही चाहिए. हमारा गुस्सा अगर हम नहीं निकालेंगे तो कैसा होगा कि हम क्या नामर्द है? हम नामर्द नहीं है. क्या होगा? सत्ता चली जाएगी ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा. और क्या होता है?
After the Supreme Court vindicates Prime Minister Modi in Gujarat riots case, Home Minister Amit Shah speaks out, says he saw PM Modi suffer quietly for 20 years, lashes out at the opposition for conspiracy.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी की विरोधी राजनीतिक पार्टियां, कुछ आइडियोलॉजी के लिए राजनीति में आए हुए पत्रकार और कुछ एनजीओ ने मिलकर, ये त्रिकूट ने मिलकर ये आरोपों को इतना प्रचारित किया.
Gujarat anti-terror squad arrests Teesta Setalwad for allegations of giving wrong information, false information about Gujarat riots and tutoring some of the survivors and victims. Teesta Setalwad may be now taken to Gujarat. And after claiming he was dead for years, Pakistan finally detains the mastermind of 26/11 Mumbai terror attack. Sajid Mir has been taken into custody after India and America mounted pressure. And after other parties, now AIMIM also wade into the Maharashtra political turmoil. Asaduddin Owaisi says, let the Mahavikas Aghadi deliberate over this issue. We are keeping an eye on the unfolding drama. It looks like a dance of monkeys. They are acting like monkeys, jumping from one branch to another, says Asaduddin Owaisi of the AIMIM, calling these MLAs monkeys and all of this jumping ship as their dance of the monkeys. So that's the big news coming in. Asaduddin Owaisi reacting on what exactly is unfolding with constant twists and turns. He says, let the Mahavikas Aghadi, which is NCP, Congress and Shiv Sena, deliberate themselves, that it is their matter. He's just keeping an eye on the unfolding drama. But this looks like a dance of monkeys. They're acting like monkeys who are jumping from one branch to another, referring to jumping to rebel groups or meeting other netas. There is a full-blown war over Balasaheb's legacy. Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray said no one should use Bal Thackeray's name. This after the rebel group led by Eknath Shinde announced that they will likely be trying to name their splinter group as Shiv Sena Balasaheb. But Uddhav Thackeray has given a stern warning, saying Shinde should seek support at the behest of his own father, not that of Balasaheb, who is the father of Uddhav Thackeray. Here's a report of how Bal Thackeray's legacy will now be the next big question.
Shinde Sena versus Uddhav Sena war is now personal. The fight is for Bala Thackeray's name and legacy. At the Shiv Sena executive meet, Uddhav had a clear message for Eknath Shinde and the rebels.
ठाकरे आणि शिवसेना ही दोन नामं, दोन शब्द वेगळे करून तुम्ही शिवसेना चालून दाखवाच. माझं आज सुद्धा आव्हान आहे काढा, बाळासाहेबांचाही फोटो वापरायचा नाही, मी तर नालायकच आहे, माझा फोटो लावूच नका. पण बाळासाहेबांचाही फोटो न लावता तुम्ही शिवसेना नावाने जगून दाखवा.
The message from Shiv Sena is clear. Uddhav Thackeray is only inheritor of Balasaheb's legacy. The party is also going to move the election commission to stop the Shinde faction from misusing Balasaheb's name.
We have taken unanimous decision that Shiv Sena will work under the leadership of Shri Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray, and whatever he deems fit in terms of action, in terms of reaction, in terms of legalities, in terms of technicalities, in terms of politically, we all stand firmly behind him.
वो लोग शिवसेना का नाम से भीख मत मांगे, और अगर वोट मांगते हैं तो अपने खुद के बाप के नाम पर मांगे. शिवसेना के बाप, हमारे बाप बालासाहेब ठाकरे के नाम पर मत मांगने का आपको अधिकार नहीं. आप अपने बाप के नाम से वोट मांग सकते.
The Sena roar has been triggered after India Today's exclusive political news break. India Today was the first to report that Shinde and the rebels are going to form a separate faction and will name it Shiv Sena Balasaheb. In an exclusive conversation with India Today, Rebel MLA Deepak Sarkar claimed that Shinde had sent a letter to the Deputy Speaker seeking recognition as a separate party.
हम लोग अभी भी शिवसेना में हैं. जो एक मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग फैली जा रही है कि हम लोगों ने शिवसेना छोड़ी है, ऐसी कोई भी बात नहीं है. हम सिर्फ अपना गट अलग कर रहे हैं, और जो बाला साहब की विचारधारा है कि हम किस दिशा में जाना चाहते हैं, इसके बारे में हमने हमारे पक्ष प्रमुख जी को बार-बार विनती की थी.
Dropping a massive hint, Rebel MLA Deepak Sarkar also asserted that Rebel camp has only two options now, either to support the NCP or join hands with the BJP.
आपका ये शिवसेना बालासाहेब नाम का जो कोई गुट बनेगा, जिसको मान्यता शायद मिल भी जाए, वो गुट अपने आप को उनको मर्ज करना पड़ेगा किसी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी में. तो या तो नहीं है, हो सकती है या आपकी कोई और, ये नहीं है. अच्छा,
ऐसे बिल्कुल नहीं है. ऐसा कुछ प्राविधान नहीं है. वो तो अलग गट करके आप बैठ सकते हैं, और वैसे हम लोग बैठेंगे. आज जो सिर्फ चल रहा है प्रेशर टैक्टिक्स चल रहा है महाराष्ट्र में, और ऐसे कोई भी नहीं है. जो भी प्रोविजंस होंगे कायदे की, उसके हम लोग अमल बजावनी करेंगे.
This comes after Maharashtra Deputy Speaker rejected the no confidence motion moved against him by the Shinde camp. 16 rebels have also been served disqualification notices. They have been asked to respond by June 27th, 5 p.m. Uddhav has declared he's the rightful heir of Balasaheb's legacy, but Shinde remains defiant.
जो हम लोग ने पिटीशन फाइल की थी, उसी के ऊपर सोमवार को 5:30 बजे स्पीकर महोदय के सामने सारे 16 बागी जो विधायक है शिवसेना के, उनको आना पड़ेगा, और उनकी बाजू उनको यहाँ इन पर्सन आके बोलनी पड़ेगी.
The real question remains unanswered. Who is the real Shiv Sena? Bureau Report, India Today.
And now joining me on this live telecast is Kamlesh Sutar, live from Mumbai. Also Ritwik Bhalekar, he's right outside the Vidhan Bhavan. Ritwik, first over to you. What does the present situation look like? Because this is today an aggressive stand by the Shiv Sena as it stands under Uddhav Thackeray. They are trying to send out threats, a resolution letter against the rebel MLAs. What are you witnessing? How do the streets of Mumbai look like today?
Yes, the present situation seems very difficult for Uddhav Thackeray, because it is not just a fight for saving Mahavikas Aghadi government, but it has becoming a battle to save his own existence, his own survival, his party Shiv Sena. Because what Eknath Shinde is doing, Eknath Shinde is sending across the resolutions, the letters, the proposals, the motions to the Deputy Speaker of Maharashtra Assembly on the letterhead of official Shiv Sena party. And what he's trying to do, he's trying to claim the control over the party. This was unexpected, and CM Uddhav is caught completely unaware. we from the sources of Shiv Sena got to know that they were knowing that there is discontent in the party, there are disagreements, but at the most only 20 to 25 MLAs would go and join Shinde camp. But this turned out to be a huge coup because more than 35 MLAs are with Shinde, Eknath Shinde.
Stay on with me, Ritvik, because our editor Kamlesh Sutar also for a perspective on this. Kamlesh, how do you look at this aggressive stand by the Shiv Sena, at least for the past few hours? Threatening, disqualification notice stating use your own father's name, why use Bal Thackre's name? And this despite knowing they do not have the numbers. The number is with Eknath Shinde, who's already meeting Devendra Fadnavis in Vadodara.
Well, if you look at Sanjay Raut's statement yesterday, Sanjay Raut made a very cryptic statement yesterday, and that can be seen fanning out today. Sanjay Raut said that we'll win the battle on the floor of the house as well as on the streets. We see Shiv Sena workers taking to the streets, and then there's vandalism that is happening. The offices of rebel MLAs are being targeted, posters are being torn. And on the other hand, the legal team is working day in and day out. 2 days before, a legal team also was consulted in Delhi, which constituted of senior lawyers from the Supreme Court as well as some constitutional experts. Their opinion was sought on what next can be done, whether these MLAs could be disqualified, what if they challenge, how long is this going to continue, whether a disqualification notice can be issued to the entire chunk of rebel MLAs or just a part of it. 16 MLAs have been served with that notice. We saw that today they have been asked to present their side by Monday evening. Now, if that happens, the Shiv Sena is also weighing all the legal options. The more this gets delayed, a section in Shiv Sena and NCP, rather in Mahavikas Aghadi, believes that the more such cases delay, more the possibility of the rebel camp getting anxious. So they want to take it. They want to take the legal route. There are also speculations that this might end up in the Supreme Court as well. But the rebel camp and perhaps a group that is with them is trying to finish it off as early as possible. Before any action could be taken against that rebel MLA, they would like to take the further step, and perhaps that is why we saw a late night meeting, a very secret meeting between Devendra Fadnavis and Eknath Shinde taking place in Vadodara last night. Maybe they must have strategized, but this perhaps could be going in further direction where we can see some concrete steps being taken by a sign of the times to come.
We have some big news coming in here in the evening bulletin. More inside scoop into Eknath Shinde's Gujarat visit late last night. The details are emerging of this Gujarat visit, a secret visit. But now India Today brings you all the latest. What our sources have confirmed that late last night, Eknath Shinde met Devendra Fadnavis of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and Shinde travelled to Vadodara in a chartered aircraft. All of this was secret. Nobody knew where Eknath Shinde had flown back to. But before the news could go out, he was back in Guwahati early morning. And this is now the details coming in that we have from Vadodara, that Eknath Shinde did meet Devendra Fadnavis in Vadodara. And this precisely, as of now, there was no confirmation if it was just Devendra Fadnavis who he definitely met, or were there any senior leaders from the BJP, or was there any other central minister as well in that meeting. But now more sources are telling us that at that point last night, Home Minister Amit Shah was also in Vadodara at about 10 to 11 p.m. and around midnight in Vadodara yesterday. But there's no confirmation or clarity yet if Eknath Shinde met Home Minister Amit Shah also. But as of now, it appears that there was definitely Devendra Fadnavis and Home Minister Amit Shah yesterday in Vadodara, and so was Eknath Shinde. Saurabh Akhtania tracking all the latest this from Mumbai for us. Saurabh, because you're covering both the politics in Gujarat, also in Maharashtra, and getting us this big scoop details, do tell us what's happening. Was there a meeting between Eknath Shinde and Devendra Fadnavis, or was it just too much of a coincidence that late last night when he flew to Vadodara, there was Devendra Fadnavis in the city? There was also Home Minister Amit Shah at the same time.
So, well, Pooja, what we know from our sources is that Devendra Fadnavis was in Vadodara, Mr. Amit Shah was in Vadodara, and Eknath Shinde too was in Vadodara. Now, Eknath Shinde actually escaped the whole media outside the Guwahati hotel without any security and without such high cars and anything. We have been told that he left from the back gate without anyone knowing, and through a special flight from Guwahati, he reached Vadodara, and at Vadodara, he met former Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Devendra Fadnavis. Now, this was a closed-door meeting and just few hours meeting, which were very important aspects were discussed, because we know that the Uddhav Sena is trying to delay the whole process, but the Shinde camp and the BJP themselves know that delaying the whole procedure can break the MLAs in the rebel camp, and therefore, very soon some decision has to be taken, say by Monday or Tuesday. What we know that this was a very crucial piece of.
So, Saurabh, bringing us that latest, that there was Home Minister Amit Shah, there was also Devendra Fadnavis, the former Chief Minister of Maharashtra. I want to go back to Kamlesh Sutar on this. Kamlesh, very interesting. We have some of the visuals running about Home Minister Amit Shah, who was in Vadodara yesterday. So was Eknath Shinde. So should we just see this as a coincidence, or any more details if there was a meeting, in fact, between these netas?
As Saurabh was pointing out, we cannot ascertain that Amit Shah, Eknath Shinde and Devendra Fadnavis met. But yes, in politics, such coincidences can never be ignored. Amit Shah's very presence in Vadodara the same evening when Devendra Fadnavis took that route via Indore to Vadodara, and Eknath Shinde took the chartered flight from Guwahati to Delhi to reach to Vadodara. This just cannot be a coincidence, or in politics such coincidence can never be ignored. They may have met, they may not have met, but the three were in Vadodara the same evening, the same late night. Remains one important aspect of the entire political development. Perhaps till now we haven't seen an official involvement on the political drama in Maharashtra, but this perhaps could be one of the major developments and major meeting that would decide on in which direction is the political crisis in Maharashtra is heading. If
for the benefit of our viewers, yes,
involved, then we might just see some more development.
While we cannot confirm if there was a meeting directly between all these three netas, but we can confirm here in India today that late last night, Home Minister Amit Shah, as you can see, some of the visuals will be right there on your screen, was in Vadodara yesterday at about till midnight. There was also Devendra Fadnavis, who's the former Chief Minister of Maharashtra. He's a BJP neta. And so was rebel MLA Eknath Shinde, who's leading this group of 40 MLAs. And Kamlesh Sutar is telling us more about that. But Kamlesh, everyone is also wondering, the clock is ticking. So either the Eknath Shinde group or the BJP, which has maximum number in the state assembly, will have to make the next move.
Indeed. And what initially was happening, what we saw, Pooja, is that Uddhav Thackeray was maintaining a stoic silence. Either he didn't attack Eknath Shinde, or he was taking a back seat, making only appeals to the rebel camp to come back, sit across the table and discuss. But since last 2 days, we've seen suddenly the Shiv Sena has become aggressive. Uddhav Thackeray started meeting people the moment he left Varsha, came back to his residence Matoshri. Shiv Sainiks are taking to the streets. Uddhav Thackeray is aggressively addressing his party leaders. Even Aditya Thackeray is doing that. So the Shiv Sena has suddenly decided to fight it back. Initially, that may have been part of their strategy, but now Uddhav Thackeray is very vocal about the rebel camp and is taking them heads on. On the political front, Uddhav Thackeray is taking the camp, and on the other hand, we're seeing the legal action that has been taken by Shiv Sena and the Mahavikas Aghadi has also gained momentum. Notices are being issued for disqualification of the MLAs. Also, other legal formalities are being completed here before the rebel camp can go and claim a separate group. Before that happens, they are seeing to it that the MLAs, the rebel groups, a section of the MLAs will be disqualified, so that it doesn't go to a certain point where they will claim that the government is in minority and may come and meet the governor of Maharashtra. This is all happening. This is a developing news. It's all dynamic. So any moment, anything can happen, and perhaps the meeting last night could have been the decider on what the next step of the rebel camp is going to be. We'll just have to maybe wait for a couple of days, maybe, when we can see some more action, some concrete steps being taken by the Eknath Shinde camp.
So now let me take you through to my colleague Ankit Kumar, and Ankit was very interestingly tracking those aircrafts. It appeared to be a secret visit, but Ankit was tracking at what time did which flight flew from Guwahati and then landed in Vadodara. Ankit, do tell us the latest about what did you exactly pick up from how you were tracking these aircrafts and how we have now the confirmation about these chartered planes that did go from Guwahati to Vadodara and back to Guwahati by morning.
Well, it all started with a flight that took off yesterday evening and reached Guwahati at around 8. It was Cessna class private jet. It stayed at Guwahati airport for about 2 hours. Around 10:20 evening yesterday, it took off from Guwahati, landed at Delhi airport at around 12:30 past midnight. And something very interesting happened, because if Eknath Shinde wanted to fly straight from Guwahati to Vadodara, he could have used the same jet. The jet was good enough to take one person from Guwahati to Vadodara. But that jet landed at Delhi airport. There was another jet, another private jet, this time the Falcon 2000 private jet. That jet, within a span of 15 minutes, that jet took off from New Delhi. It landed at Vadodara. At the same time, there was another jet waiting that had traveled all the way from Mumbai via Indore. It had a brief stoppage at Indore. Then it came back to Vadodara. And those two jets, they stayed their ground in Vadodara for next several minutes. The flight that came from Delhi stayed only for 30 minutes. Then it went back to Delhi. In the morning, at around between 4 and 4:15, two jets, one that had came from Mumbai via Indore. It flew back to Indore, then it came back to Mumbai, and a new jet, a Lear Jet 40. That jet was supposedly used by Eknath Shinde to fly that straight to Guwahati. So at least 4 private business class jets were used for this secret meeting. That now Sahil comes.
Very interesting what you're telling us, Ankit, here, that this possibly could not just have been a direct flight. It went via different cities, including the national capital, Delhi. But this also means that if at all there was a meeting that did take place, it lasted for barely 3 hours, because what you're telling us, it landed in Vadodara at about 1 a.m. and then again left for Guwahati at about 4 a.m. All of these were private jets and chartered aircrafts.
To be precise, 2 hours, 30 minutes. 2 hours, 30 minutes, not more than that, because that was all the time that those jets had. So it was relatively a brief meeting if we are speaking about a political high-stake game. What is important is that there was also a brief stoppage at Indore. So there must have been somebody very important who would have taken that jet from Indore, and then that person had to deboard at Indore. And similarly, there must have been somebody from Delhi, because Shinde did not have to land at Delhi and did not have to change a flight back to Delhi, because that jet did not take him back to Guwahati. For Guwahati, he had another jet waiting at Vadodara airport. So there must have been different characters. We don't know who, but there must have been different high-profile characters waiting from Indore, from Delhi, who attended that meeting in Vadodara.
And I can and want to tell our viewers that I can assure you no other channel has this precise information that Ankit Kumar is breaking for us here on India Today. Remember, this is not just about Eknath Shinde likely going from Guwahati to Vadodara. Which aircraft? Which aircraft was taken at what time? Which aircraft was taken at what time and landed where and then again took off? Perhaps reflects of there were definitely high-profile individuals who were flying in and out of Guwahati, in and out of Delhi and in and out of Vadodara midnight. This happened after 12 a.m. last night, and by 4 a.m. everything was sorted. 4 a.m. Ankit, just to specify again, 4 a.m. Eknath Shinde possibly again takes this aircraft and lands in Guwahati by early morning.
To be precise, 4:10. 4:10 in the morning, he reaches Guwahati back at lands somewhere about 7 a.m. Earlier today. So, and that was a very different jet. That jet has not. We have been calculating. We have been maintaining a list of private jets used during entire Maharashtra political crisis. So far, we have counted 11 jets, 11 private jets. Including one Boeing 737 that was hired from SpiceJet. Apart from that, 10 small business class jets. So the total number of private jets, chartered jets that we are speaking about during this Maharashtra political crisis is now 11. 11 jets, imagine, and at least 4 of them were used yesterday. So you can understand the gravity, the importance of that meeting. There must have been very important
Ankit, if I may ask you here, for someone who's listening to you right now, and we are breaking down one by one of the city interchange, the travel time, Why do you think it's precisely the reason that it wouldn't be a direct chartered aircraft from one city to another, but goes through different cities, and in a short span of time it has managed to cover 3 cities, the exact time? All of this needs a lot of coordination, but is this also reflecting that these are not perhaps random individuals? They are definitely high profile. They have a profile that required all of this coordination.
Well, we have been speaking to a lot of industry insiders, the aviation sector insiders. Yes. And we have also brought a story on how much does it cost to hire one of these jets. So let's just set the record straight. No common person can hire those jets. The prices are so high. If you take into account the route, neither Guwahati nor Indore, neither Surat nor Vadodara, these are not positioned places where these jets are positioned. So if in case you need a jet in Guwahati, you will have to ask that jet to fly from a metropolitan city like Chennai or Bangalore. Now that adds to the cost. So it can go up to 40 to 50 lakh rupees. These jets are flying at a very odd time. So 3 a.m., 4 a.m., those are not, those are not general traffic, general business timing, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. kind of flight. Besides that, we are also corroborating a lot of information that we are getting from our political reporters in Guwahati. Our Mumbai Bureau Chief Sahil Joshi, he broke this information that Devendra Fadnavis was seen, his car was seen moving towards airport last night. And then our Kolkata Bureau Chief Anupam Mishra, he confirmed that the car that was used by Shinde in Guwahati, that was seen moving towards Guwahati airport yesterday evening. So apart from the open source data that we are receiving from open source flight tracking websites, we are also connecting a lot of political insights that we are getting from our reporters, and then we are coming up with these additional details for us to make sense as to what is happening.
So what Ankit Kumar is explaining, I'll briefly help our viewers to understand that this is one about open source tracking software that was used, and Ankit Kumar has been proficient in it, ensuring that what nobody else is focusing on, we can bring you this other angle that actually breaks down what could have happened late last night. Apart from that, our reporters on the ground also corroborating information about the vehicles that were seen in different cities, about how important that was in reference to these big netas you see on your screen. So, Ankit, we also have the confirmation that there was not only Eknath Shinde, who was in Vadodara, there was also Devendra Fadnavis, there was also Home Minister Amit Shah. Too much of a coincidence, of course, we do not have the clarity if all 3 of them met, but at least all 3 of them were in Vadodara, has been confirmed.
That's right, and that's what we are trying to make sense of. Although, of course, we do not have a confirmation on whether or not Amit Shah was part of this meeting or not, because that has not been confirmed through political sources. But what we can conclusively say is that at least 4 very important people from 4 different cities, that is Guwahati, Delhi, Indore, and Mumbai, they, for some very important reason, decided to meet in Vadodara for 2 hours to discuss something that must have been very important, because it was between 2 and 4 a.m. in late night or early morning, and all of them then had to go back to their original places. The Delhi flight went back just after half an hour. The Guwahati flight, as you know, landed at 7. The Mumbai flight took off from Vadodara at around 4. So public source data confirms these patterns. Our reporters on ground, they are confirming the movement of their leaders. So definitely, Vadodara is now the news center of this political crisis that has been happening in Maharashtra. Surat is not, Vadodara is now. And let's see where it moves on from here. From what we understand, Shinde is back in Guwahati. As of now, no private jet is stationing at Guwahati airport. So we will keep an eye on that.
Ankit, I request you to stay on with me because our editor Kamlesh Sutar joins me now from Mumbai. Kamlesh, this open source intelligence to gather more data about what precisely was happening with these flights is very interesting, and then gets corroborated about the netas being in these respective cities. And we are talking about 3 important netas to be in one location at the same time in one city of Vadodara, and that perhaps could be a signal of what is happening, because why would Home Minister Amit Shah, Devendra Fadnavis, former CM, top BJP neta with regard to Maharashtra, and Eknath Shinde be in the same city, and possibly Eknath Shinde doing this travel in midnight and is back by 6:30 in Guwahati?
Well, in fact, Pooja, I was just speaking to some of the rebel MLAs who are in Guwahati, and even some of them were not aware of any such meeting. Even they were not aware that Eknath Shinde went out of the hotel.
Okay.
That's very strange. The kind of secrecy that is being maintained even in the rebel camp, that most of them is trying to corroborate that situation with them, but most of them who on the condition of anonymity were telling me even they were not aware that any such meeting happened. They thought that Eknath Shinde was there because they met him last night, and in the early morning they saw him again in the hotel. So even they were not aware of any such meeting or Eknath Shinde going out of the hotel and going to Vadodara and meeting Devendra Fadnavis there possibly.
Yes.
So that was the kind of secrecy that is being maintained. Now obviously the reason behind this is the Shinde camp, and both in case there is any BJP involvement into this or backing or the Mahashakti that Eknath Shinde is referring to, if that is in play at this point, then that would certainly signal at some big developments that we can expect in another couple of days. What are the options before the Shinde camp? Either they approach the governor to withdraw support of the government, saying that the government is minority, or also they could approach the court saying that the disqualification initiated by the deputy speaker is illegal.
Okay.
There are certain steps that the Shinde group is going to take, but as we saw this afternoon, they were mooting an idea to float a separate group called Shiv Sena Balasaheb, and that is being
keeping all options open
by the Shiv Sena.
Kamlesh,
there can be
while
some
Uddhav Thackeray is keeping all doors also open in case these rebel MLAs want to return. But remember, India Today, not only with open source intelligence, but also our reporters on the ground telling you about precisely what did happen late last night between Guwahati and Vadodara, two states and one of the most important political developments taking place. Thank you so much, Ankit Kumar and Kamlesh Sutar, for the latest on that. So amid this ongoing tussle in the state of Maharashtra, the question is, will the real Shiv Sena stand up? Because Eknath Shinde is very confident, says they are pushing to name a new splinter group or even a rebel party, and they will want to name it Shiv Sena Balasaheb. Uddhav Thackeray says, do not use my father's name, use your own father if you want to, because Shiv Sena and Thackeray's are synonymous. Take a look at this report.
Which is the real Shiv Sena? Who will inherit Balasaheb Thackeray's legacy? And who will rule Maharashtra? This raging political Mahabharat has now entered a legal battleground. Both Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray and rebel Eknath Shinde are staking claim as the rightful heir of Shiv Sena.
शिवसेना कदापि हिंदुत्वापासून आणि हिंदुत्व कदापि शिवसेनेपासून दूर होऊ शकत नाही, कारण शिवसेना प्रमुखांनी जो एक कानमंत्र दिलेला आहे की हिंदुत्व हा आमचा श्वास आहे.
अभी तो हम लोग तो कल भी हम बालासाहेब ठाकरे जी के सैनिक थे, आज भी है, कल भी रहेंगे.
लेकिन क्या फिर अभी
बालासाहेब ठाकरे जी की जो आइडियोलॉजी है, उनकी भूमिका है, उसे ही हम लोग आगे लेके जाना चाहते हैं.
One thing is clear, a split in Shiv Sena is now inevitable. Shinde and 37 MLAs have broken rank from the Uddhav Sena. They are now the majority, leaving the original Shiv Sena to be reduced to a minority party. And now, Shinde Sena is moving in for the kill by laying claim to the bow and arrow symbol of the original Shiv Sena.
जब एमएलए लोगों की जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में अगर कोई काम नहीं होता है या उनके ऊपर अन्याय होता है, तो अन्याय के खिलाफ लड़ने की सीख जो है हमारे को बालासाहेब ठाकरे जी ने दी है.
The Shinde camp is reportedly forming a new rebel party called Shiv Sena Balasaheb. Another resounding message that they are carrying forward Balasaheb's Hindutva ideology.
हम आज भी विचारधारा से जुड़े हुए हैं, इसलिए हमने ये नाम रखा है कि शिवसेना बालासाहेब, क्योंकि शिवसेना वहां पे वो पार्टी का नाम है, शिवसेना बालासाहेब गट करके नाम रखा है और उस गट को रिकॉग्निशन देना चाहिए.
Uddhav Thackeray too is digging in his heels, hitting out at Shinde camp, saying Shiv Sena and Thackeray's are synonyms.
ठाकरे आणि शिवसेना ही दोन शब्द वेगळे करून तुम्ही शिवसेना चालून दाखवाच. माझं आज सुद्धा आव्हान आहे. कारण बाळासाहेबांचाही फोटो वापरायचा नाही, मी तर नालायकच आहे, माझा फोटो लावूच नका. पण बाळासाहेबांचाही फोटो न लावता तुम्ही शिवसेना नावाने जगून दाखवा.
But who decides which is the real Shiv Sena? The matter can be only decided by the Election Commission. Election Commission will also decide on allotment of party symbol on set rules if Eknath Shinde seeks official recognition. Till then, the war of words, war for legacy and the war for power will only get bigger. Bureau Report, India Today.
I'm heading into a very short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. You're watching India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com or call 9999892171.
Climate change is real. The long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns are constantly taking place, and it will affect you. If you are still not bothered about it, here are some facts which you should know. The world's polar ice caps are shrinking little by little. The Arctic is heating up twice as fast as the rest of the planet, with Greenland's glaciers receding particularly quickly. This process is speeding up all by itself. Melting snow exposes ice underneath, which then absorbs the sun's rays and increases thawing. At the opposite end of the Earth, 90% of the ice shelves on the Antarctic Peninsula are starting to disintegrate. Ice melt is also being observed in mountain ranges like the Himalayas, Kilimanjaro, the Alps, and Pyrenees. In the Andes, glaciers are retreating and risk disappearing altogether. Ocean levels are rising due to the combination of melting ice and warmer sea temperatures, as warm water has a greater volume than cold water. At the current rate, it is predicted that by the year 2100, sea levels will rise between 26 centimeters and a meter. Islands in the Pacific or Indian Oceans like the Maldives will be submerged. Densely populated, low-lying coastal areas like Bangladesh, Vietnam, the Netherlands, and the east coast of the United States are all under threat.
You are watching India Today.
इसके कारण ये हुआ है कि दिल्ली एयरपोर्ट अभी वर्ल्ड के लीडिंग एयरपोर्ट्स में है, जहां की हमारा हाईएस्ट रेटिंग है एयरपोर्ट काउंसिल इंटरनेशनल द्वारा। साउथ ईस्ट एशिया में एक भी एयरपोर्ट नहीं है जो कि लेवल 4+ एक्रेडिटेशन जिसको मिला है। लेवल 4+ एक्रेडिटेशन ये चीज़ डिनोट करता है कि अलग अलग स्कोप का जो एमिशन होता है वो हर एक स्कोप पे हमने रिडक्शन किया है।
You are watching
Take a look now at all the latest developments coming in on the Maharashtra political crisis tussle. And on top is Uddhav Sena versus the Eknath Sena tussle turning ugly. Violence breaks out as angry Shiv Sena workers take to the streets. Angry Sainiks vandalizing rebel MLA offices, burning effigies. Security has been tightened outside the residence of Shinde in Thane. On the other side, Shinde supporters gathered outside his Thane residence in big numbers. Supporters alongside Shinde's son, who's also a member of parliament in the Lok Sabha, raising slogans in support of rebel leaders. Supporters taking out a rally in Buldhana. Amid the ongoing crisis in Maharashtra, Mumbai police has imposed Section 144 in the city. Security tightened at residence and offices of all political parties, MPs, MLAs and corporators. Earlier, Section 144 was imposed in Shinde's stronghold area of Thane. Sena has objected to Shinde's faction possibly to use the name of Shiv Sena Balasaheb for their proposed group or party. Uddhav Thackeray's Sena moves the Election Commission over this issue, also passed a resolution in the National Executive meeting. Disqualification notice served to 16 rebel MLAs of the Shiv Sena for abstaining from the meeting called upon by party whip Sunil Prabhu. They have been asked to give written reply with all required documents supporting their claim for remaining absent by June 27 till 5 p.m. So what does Maharashtra look like today? Amid this Uddhav Sena versus Eknath Sena tussle that is turning ugly, there was vandalism and violence reported from some areas in the state of Maharashtra. Shiv Sena workers taking to the streets, angry Shiv Sainiks vandalized the rebel MLA offices, even burning effigies while they were protesting. Here's the full report on what unfolded in the past few hours.
Violence, vandalism, arson and a full-blown street fight. As the political scenario in Maharashtra escalates, Uddhav Sena's fury against rebel MLAs is now in full force. For Shiv Sainiks, all the rebel MLAs are traitors who've ditched Balasaheb's legacy and his family in a very difficult time. And the Shiv Sainiks are on the rampage. And it's Eknath Shinde who's in the line of fire. Eknath Shinde's son, member of parliament Shrikant Shinde's office, was vandalized by Shiv Sainiks in Ulhasnagar. Offices, posters and anything linked to the rebel MLAs is now on target of the Uddhav Sena. Office of rebel MLA Tanaji Sawant in Pune was vandalized by the protesters who warned him of violent consequences the moment he returns to the tiger's den. Shiv Sainiks were also seen breaking window panes, shouting slogans against Tanaji Sawant.
एकनाथ शिंदे के जो भी नागपुर में बैनर लगेंगे, हम शिवसेना युवा सेना के तरफ से हम उनको लगने नहीं देंगे. ये हमारी तरफ से एक चेतावनी है. जो भी ये बैनर लगाएंगे उनके लिए.
In different parts of Maharashtra, effigies of rebel MLAs were burnt amidst chants of Shiv Sena Zindabad. This is in the first instance when offices of rebel Sena MLAs have been targeted. On the 23rd of June, Shiv Sainiks vandalized hoardings of rebel Sena MLAs in Mumbai. Hoardings of rebel MLA Mangesh Kudalkar were damaged and posters of MLA Dilip Lande were also smeared with ink. The situation is such that Mumbai police has had to issue not just an alert but also prohibitory orders across police stations in Mumbai and Thane, trying to ensure security at all political offices in the city. As tempers rise, Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut threatened the Eknath Shinde faction, asking them to be prepared for more.
देखिए महाराष्ट्र में सब कुछ ठीक है. लॉ एंड ऑर्डर की बात करें, शांतता हो, सब कुछ ठीक है, लेकिन लोगों का गुस्सा, अभी देखिए अग्निवीर का मामला है, लोग गुस्से में है, लोग सड़क पर उतर गए. लोगों को अगर एक चीज़ पसंद नहीं पड़ती है, ये जनता है, पब्लिक क्राय है, तो लोग सड़क पर उतर जाते हैं. यही कार्यकर्ताओं ने आपको चुन को दिया है। आप शिवसेना के उम्मीदवार बने, शिवसेना ने आपको टिकट दिया, शिवसेना के कार्यकर्ताओं ने खून पसीना बहाया, सब कुछ दिया, पैसा भी दिया चुनने के लिए, आपको विधायक बनाया और अब भाग जाते हो। तो कार्यकर्ता तो गुस्से में हो गए। मैंने क्या कहा कल कि आप मुंबई में आइए, ये अल्टीमेटम की बात नहीं है। मैंने कहा आप आपके घर के हैं, आप हमारे बच्चे हैं, दोस्त है, भाई है। वहाँ सूरत में भागते हो, गुवाहाटी में भागते हो, अब मुझे किसी ने बोला कि गोवा में जा रहे हो। ये दर दर की ठोकरें खाने की जरूरत क्या है? आप घर में आइए।
Union Minister Ramdas Athawale hit out at Uddhav Thackeray's government over this vandalism and threats.
2/3 मेजॉरिटी से एकनाथ शिंदे के साथ एमएलए चले गए हैं, तो उनको मतलब शिवसेना की मान्यता मिलनी चाहिए और इसी तरह की दादागिरी करना अच्छी बात नहीं है। जो तोड़फाड़ हो रही है इसको रोकने की आवश्यकता है, लेकिन पुलिस के सामने इसी तरह की तोड़फाड़ हो रही है, ये बात बिल्कुल नाजायज है और बहुत ही गंभीर बात है।
With Uddhav Sena and Shinde Sena on the warpath, the fight is now getting downright personal and dirty. Bureau Report, India Today.
And India Today Aaj Tak news break getting confirmed with more additions now coming in. Sources have confirmed to India Today that Devendra Fadnavis left from Delhi post 9 p.m. last night in a private aircraft. Devendra Fadnavis went to Indore first. From there, he went to Vadodara. Fadnavis then returned to Mumbai from Vadodara around 5:45 a.m. At a similar time when he returned to returned to Mumbai, it was the same time almost when Eknath Shinde returned to Guwahati early in the morning. So very interesting developments there. We can now confirm to you that late last night after 9 p.m. Devendra Fadnavis left from Delhi in a private aircraft. He did eventually reach Vadodara where Eknath Shinde was, but he went via Indore. First he was in Indore, then from there he went to Vadodara and returned to Mumbai from Vadodara in Gujarat around 5:45 a.m. By around 6:30, Eknath Shinde had reached back to Guwahati in his hotel. And as our reporters on the ground are confirming that it was Devendra Fadnavis there, and there was also Eknath Shinde almost at the same time in the city, and also there was, as we are being told, Home Minister Amit Shah. But was there a meeting that took place? That is not yet confirmed. Clarity, we are still ascertaining and waiting for that to come. But remember, this could be a big signal. Is it too much of a coincidence? Both Devendra Fadnavis and Eknath Shinde in Vadodara through the night and then by morning had reached back to the respective cities. And also very importantly, remember, many of the rebel MLAs holed up in the hotel in Guwahati themselves were not aware that Eknath Shinde had left late last night from Guwahati to Vadodara and was even back by the time they had woken up. And then it broke on India Today that this specific flight had been taken, a chartered aircraft, a private jet by Eknath Shinde from Guwahati to Vadodara and then back by morning. Now we can confirm to you that Devendra Fadnavis also was in Vadodara, and that from Mumbai. I repeat, he went from Delhi post 9 p.m. first to Indore and then from there to Vadodara in Gujarat, and by morning, by 5:45 a.m., he was back in Mumbai. I want to reiterate again for our viewers here that Devendra Fadnavis left from Mumbai post 9 p.m. last night in a private aircraft. Just giving you a background and helping it breaking for you. 1. Eknath Shinde, the rebel MLA, leaves Guwahati late last night, lands in Vadodara, back to Guwahati. So Guwahati to Vadodara and back for Eknath Shinde. For Devendra Fadnavis, the former Chief Minister of Maharashtra, one of the tall leaders of the BJP in Maharashtra, left from Mumbai post 9 p.m. in a private jet to Vadodara via Indore and is back in Mumbai by morning. So Mumbai to Vadodara for Devendra Fadnavis and Guwahati to Vadodara for Eknath Shinde. Let's go across quickly to my colleague Munish Pandey, who is tracking all the latest on this from Mumbai. Munish, very interesting. India Today is tracking all the latest on this from our open source intelligence, also corroborating the information by our reporters on the ground. But this was a secret huddle, if at all there was, but therefore definitely a secret visit by Eknath Shinde, to suddenly go from Guwahati all the way to Vadodara.
Javel Pooja, indeed this is very interesting, and what we can confirm to our viewers based on the information we are getting from our sources is that Devendra Fadnavis left from Mumbai around 9 o'clock, post 9 o'clock, and then he went to Indore. From Indore he went to Vadodara, and around 6 a.m. this morning he was back to Mumbai. Whether there was any meeting or not, there is no official confirmation. But since the time this entire, drama is happening in Maharashtra, the political drama where Eknath Shinde is with the rebel MLAs in Guwahati, but certainly there have been some sort of communication within the Bharatiya Janata Party. Officially, not even the BJP, not even the rebel MLAs of Shiv Sena have told any media channel or in any other way that they are going to make an alliance, post-alliance, they are going to do any alliance. But certainly some talks are happening, and this is a clear indication where Eknath Shinde flew from Guwahati. He went to Vadodara, and what we are understanding is that even Devendra Fadnavis was in Vadodara during the same period, in the same night.
It is also interesting to mention here, Munish, that till now, Devendra Fadnavis or the Bharatiya Janata Party have distanced themselves from any involvement or even interest in what is unfolding. Team Modi did give its first reaction. Devendra Fadnavis had earlier said, have you ever seen any such coalition last even 2 years? So all of that is in perspective, but for these netas to be in the same city at the same time is definitely going to catch many off guard, and specifically Uddhav Thackeray, for this information to reach him, has to ring alarm bells.
Absolutely, Pooja, and since the time this entire drama unfolded, the official line of BJP is that they are monitoring the situation. Today I was outside Devendra Fadnavis' residence, and what we saw that there were MLAs coming and meeting Devendra Fadnavis. There were senior leaders of BJP coming and meeting Devendra Fadnavis. At the very same time, there was an interesting press conference by a rebel MLA of Eknath Shinde faction, and that in that press conference it was told to the media that they are still in Shiv Sena, they are the Shiv Senics, and they will make an alliance, they will form a government, but they will not form a government with NCP or Congress Party. They are fighting for Hindutva. So already there are enough indications that this alliance may be formed between Eknath Shinde faction, Shiv Sena, and Bharatiya Janata Party, but certainly it won't happen in one night. There must be some communication, there must be some negotiation.
But could this be the first
there will be bargainings,
could this be possibly either too much of a coincidence or could be a reflection of what's unfolding behind closed doors? But we can confirm to you that Devendra Fadnavis and also Eknath Shinde were late last night there in Vadodara, both back to their respective cities by morning. Munish Pandey is in Mumbai. All our reporters will be tracking the latest both from Guwahati and Mumbai on this. Thank you so much for watching right now. Leaving you with these visuals. That is about Maharashtra politics. But there's also another news that's breaking right at this moment. Gujarat ATS has taken into arrest officially Teesta Setalwad. A day after the Supreme Court gave a clean chit to Prime Minister Narendra Modi in 2002 Gujarat riots case, the Gujarat Anti-Terror Squad today arrested Teesta Setalwad in Mumbai, while Ahmedabad Detection of Crime Branch arrested retired DGP R.B. Sri Kumar. Teesta was first taken to the Santa Cruz police station in Mumbai by a team of the ATS officials of Gujarat. Another team of the ATS visited the residence in Juhu along with Mumbai police officials. Now, Teesta Setalwad, remember, has been accused of providing false information using forged documents as evidence about the 2002 Gujarat riots case. There's also an allegation of tutoring some of the victims and survivors. The investigation has found that false information was given via a petition and that there were several petitions put in the court by Teesta Setalwad which unfolded eventually false information to the Special Investigation Team head and other commission through Zakia Jafri, wife of Congress MP Ehsan Jafri, who was killed in the 2002 riots in Gujarat. Now, the Supreme Court, while upholding the SIT's clean chit to Prime Minister Modi, also said that activist Teesta Setalwad exploited emotions of petitioner Zakia Jafri, an elderly woman, all of this for her own benefit.
Teesta Setalwad, human rights activist, and who has been helping the victims of Gujarat riots and many, across the country in many other cases, has been arrested today. She has been taken by Gujarat ATS right now, and the sections which they are applying is 468 and 471. We don't know the full details of the case as yet. We were not informed. They barged into, they assaulted her and they have taken her. Forgery का केस है, तो हमको अभी डिटेल नहीं मालूम है कि क्या फोर्जरी का केस है. 468 और 471 बोला गया है.
So that's also the big news that is coming in from Mumbai. We'll be tracking the latest on that. I'm heading into a very short break, but our rolling coverage on Maharashtra politics and also a discussion coming up. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching. Leaving you with
बाप के नाम पर मांगे.
You are watching India Today.
India's #1 political reporter.
Defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye, unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% news that matters. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Only on India Today TV. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
Do you litter? Well, humans do have a habit of littering possibly everywhere, but here's something that will shock you. Human trash was found on Mars. Yes, we aren't kidding. NASA's Perseverance rover is on a mission to explore Mars planet, and while exploring, it found a piece of human trash. NASA shared images on Twitter where it can be clearly seen that a shiny litter is stuck between the rocks. It was indeed a surprise to find it in that region. So far, the Perseverance rover had no luck in finding life on Mars planet, but does finding this piece of trash really mean something? The rover actually stumbled on a piece of thermal blanket, which NASA thinks might have come from the rover's descent stage. The thermal blanket protects the rover from extreme temperatures. It is possible that the thermal blanket belongs to the rover's descent stage. But what NASA finds out is that the descent crashed 2 kilometers away from the location. So how did that piece of thermal blanket get there? The Perseverance team thought that it could have been blown away from the wind. NASA's Perseverance rover was sent to explore the red planet to find ancient signs of living. It landed on Mars in 2021 and since then has been collecting rocks, exploring the planet and sending back vital information to NASA.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You are watching India. You are watching India Today.
वोट मांगते हैं तो अपने खुद के बाप के नाम पर मांगे.
Balasaheb, Sena and Legacy War. Shinde Sena hits where it hurts. Rebels claim Balasaheb's name. Uddhav camp fumes, wages war. Uddhav's ultimatum: don't use Balasaheb's name. Bombay Bawal over Baap Ka Naam.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Pooja Shali. We have a special discussion coming up at 8 p.m. with regard to Maharashtra politics, which is nothing less than a potboiler thriller with constant twists and turns. Let's begin first with the headlines. Uddhav Thackeray moves the Election Commission to win the Balasaheb legacy. Uddhav Thackeray, to ensure nobody uses Balasaheb's name, warns that rebels are sitting on a ticking bomb. Disqualification notice has been issued to the rebel MLAs. Rebels have been asked to respond by 5 p.m. on 27th June. Eknath Shinde also given notice. Inside scoop on Shinde's Gujarat visit. Shinde and Fadnavis both were in Vadodara last night. Sources say Fadnavis and Shinde held a midnight meeting in Vadodara. Gujarat ATS takes into arrest Teesta Talwar for allegations of giving false information about the Gujarat riots. Teesta may also be now taken to Gujarat. After the Supreme Court vindicates Prime Minister Modi in Gujarat riots case, Home Minister Amit Shah speaks out, says he saw Prime Minister Modi suffer quietly for 20 years, lashes out at the opposition for conspiracy.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी की विरोधी राजनीतिक पार्टियां, कुछ आइडियोलॉजी के लिए राजनीति में आए हुए पत्रकार और कुछ एनजीओ ने मिलकर, एक त्रिकूट ने मिलकर ये आरोपों को इतना प्रचारित किया.
And after claiming he was dead for years, Pakistan finally detains mastermind of 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks. Sajid Mir taken into custody after India and the United States of America mounted pressure. So here's what happened late last evening in Mumbai, in Guwahati and in Vadodara. Aaj Tak and India Today news break has now been confirmed. Sources have now confirmed to India Today. And here's what I can tell you for sure. That former Chief Minister of Maharashtra, one of the tall leaders of the BJP in the state, Devendra Fadnavis, left from Mumbai first post 9 p.m. last night in a private jet. Fadnavis first goes to Indore and from there another private jet, and that he lands in Vadodara in Gujarat. So there was a detour that was taken via Indore. Fadnavis returns to Mumbai from Vadodara around 5:45 a.m. Now, this could be, of course, any visit, any meeting, not of much concern here. Where it gets interesting is because Eknath Shinde also was late last night, flew from Guwahati to Vadodara and is back in Guwahati at his hotel by early morning. Did the two meet? Was there a meeting? Is this the sign to come of perhaps BJP possibly making the next big move? Till now, BJP has absolutely distanced itself from any involvement or even interest in what is unfolding in Maharashtra. Kamlesh Sutar will be giving us the perspective. Saurav Akhtania also joins us from the ground in Mumbai. Saurav, because you're tracking what's happening in Gujarat and also what's happening in Mumbai, what is your confirmation telling you that both Devendra Fadnavis and Eknath Shinde at the same time were there? Because if both the netas are back in their respective cities of Mumbai and Guwahati by 6 a.m., 6:30 max, there could have been a meeting, but it would also have to be a very short, crisp meeting between the two netas.
Well, first of all, Pooja, we need to understand that the rebel camps, the all Shiv Sena rebel camps left Maharashtra and reached Gujarat, which is a BJP-run state, and most importantly in Surat, which has the very strong hold of BJP. What the sources and the visuals also confirm to India Today, that the top BJP leaders from Maharashtra and Gujarat both were present inside that particular hotel when all the rebel MLAs were camping in Surat. Now, what happened is, when from Surat to Guwahati, when this MLAs of Shiv Sena, of Eknath Shinde group went to Guwahati, in that particular flight too, one of the BJP leader was present. Now, this can be a coincidence that Devendra Fadnavis, the top most leader, former Chief Minister of Maharashtra of BJP, was in Vadodara at the same particular time. Let me tell you, at the same particular time, yes, Eknath Shinde was too present in Vadodara, and one of the central leadership from Delhi was also present over there. We don't have any confirmation. This can be a coincidence, maybe due to some or the other work. But Eknath Shinde, who was campaigning in Guwahati for such a long time, there was so much of talking about that he had left his hotel, leaving all the security behind. And let me tell you, I was at Varsha Bungalow yesterday, yes, when the sources told us that leaving all the security, Devendra Fadnavis left his bungalow and went outside. We don't have any confirmation.
Stay on with me, Saurabh, because Kamlesh is also now joining me. Kamlesh, it's very interesting, you know, for 2 to 3 big netas of their respective states to be in Vadodara, of all places, at the same time, not for very long, back to their cities. Not even rebel MLAs, what you're telling us. Saurabh also said some of the rebel MLAs also didn't know that Eknath Shinde was out for a while and was back. So there was definitely a secret visit that happened in Vadodara.
Well, see, any leader can go to any city and it can be a coincidence in other circumstances. But certainly, yes, this type of coincidences can never be ignored when the state is witnessing such hectic political activity. Devendra Fadnavis and Eknath Shinde, two major important leaders from the state. Eknath Shinde obviously being the most talked about face at this point, not just in Maharashtra but in the national politics, who is leading the coup in Shiv Sena. He was in Guwahati till late last night, and even most of his rebel MLAs were not even aware that he went out of the hotel and came back in the morning. He was in Guwahati. Another important leader in the entire political scheme of Maharashtra, who happens to be the opposition leader, also was in Vadodara at the same time, and Amit Shah, the Union Home Minister, also in Vadodara at the same time and same day. So in politics, as they say, never ignore any coincidences, because there are never coincidences, because anything that happens in politics happens for a reason. And these 3 leaders camping in Vadodara certainly points out to a big political picture that might emerge anytime soon. Though we don't have the exact details on what was discussed, but certainly what we know is the further strategy of Eknath Shinde might have been discussed, especially between Devendra Fadnavis and Eknath Shinde. The way things are developing, and we've seen rapid development, one on the legal front, the other on the political front, and third on the streets. That's what is happening. Rebel camp does not want to waste any more time. They've got their legal act together. Okay. Their legal experts are putting in a strong case for them, and at such an important juncture, we have seen that meeting taking place, or rather these 2 leaders flying down to Vadodara, and then the activities certainly gaining and momentum, certainly signals at more political developments that are on their way.
Kamlesh, keep tracking all the latest, and Saurav Akhtania also updating us constantly of what could have possibly transpired there in Vadodara, and could there be a big move coming in very soon by either of the parties. Thank you so much, Saurav and Kamlesh, for now. Now let's begin our discussion for tonight. I'm joined on the panel by Faizan Mirza, advocate. He's also likely in support of the NCP. I'm joined by Raghav Avasthi, also an advocate again, and Sanjay Gupta is a Shiv Sena leader. Let's begin with you, Sanjay Gupta ji. क्या हो रहा है? आप तो यहाँ पे कह रहे हैं कि नंबर्स हैं, कॉन्फिडेंस है, वहां पे वडोदरा में तो मीटिंग्स हो रही हैं, ऐसा लग रहा है। एटलीस्ट सीक्रेट विजिट्स जरूर हुई हैं एकनाथ शिंदे की कल, उसी वक्त जब देवेंद्र फडणवीस वहां पे थे, और अब बताया जा रहा है कि गृह मंत्री अमित शाह भी उसी वक्त मौजूद थे वहां।
ठीक है, सीक्रेट मीटिंग्स ये किसी भी तरह की कर सकता है, कोई भी कर सकता है, मगर जिस तरह की वीडियो दिख रही है, जिस तरह से होटल के अंदर विधायक बैठे हैं, वहां पर ना कोई कर्मचारी है, ना कोई वहाँ चाय कॉफी है किसी भी तरह की, और जिस तरह से पानी की बोतलें रखी हैं, ऐसे लगता है कि जैसे उन विधायकों को जबरदस्ती रखा गया हो। उनकी जो बात एकनाथ शिंदे कह रहे हैं या विधायक कह रहे हैं, उन बात को सही कहा जा सकता है, मगर जिस तरीके को अपना रहे हैं वो शक के दायरे में आता है। जिस तरह के वीडियो से साफ पता चलता है कि ये किसी दबाव में है या किसी इंप्रेशन में है। और महाराष्ट्र का फैसला तो महाराष्ट्र में होगा, और पार्टी बनाने की बात, जो पार्टी को जिस तरह से पार्टी की बात कर रहे हैं, तो महाराष्ट्र सरकार एक अलग चीज है और पार्टी शिवसेना पार्टी एक अलग चीज है। सरकार बनाना गिराना अलग फार्मूला होता है जो विधायक कर सकते हैं, मगर पार्टी को जो बनाना और गिराना होता है या चेंज करना होता है वो पार्टी के फाउंडर मेंबर करते हैं, वो विधायक नहीं करते। तो जिस तरह से ये पार्टी पर कब्जा करने की बात करते हैं, वो तो बिल्कुल एकदम से ही उस बात को तो किया नहीं जा सकता। हाँ, सरकार गिराने और बनाने में ये कितने विधायक साथ हैं, कितने नहीं है, कौन अपनी मर्जी से है, कौन अपनी मर्जी से नहीं है, इस पर विश्वास नहीं किया जा सकता अभी।
Raghav, how do you see this panning out? Because you also understand the legal issues here. It wouldn't be that easy, even for the rebel group, even if they have met Devendra Fadnavis, even